What up?
Oh, all right, Crimson Ghost. Everybody first. We got Dana Stallion, Crimson Ghost, Jeff Poole, Geppetto's Lab. What's up, boys?
What up?
I need to
All
bring
right,
the street
so
chat
guys,
up.
we're starting off right now with the Macro Gods and the heads of Macro Flyers group, which is what do you guys? Let's start out by what do you guys consider macro? Is it 6-inch and up, 7-inch and up?
Originally, it was like 8, 9, 10. And then I was convinced to bring in 7-inch also because they kind of didn't really have a home.
Yeah.
You know, like guys that are stuck on their 5-inch don't really fly to 7-inch. They're like, oh, it's too big. You know, not for us. So they expanded to that. But, you know, we welcome anything. Anything big, anything you're proud of. You know?
So, Jeff, people come.
Easy.
6 inches is big too.
Well, I was going to say that I think 7 inches is right about the format where you start having more consideration. 6 inches is close enough to 5 that it doesn't need as much. You don't have to consider as much.
Like at 7-inch, you have to start messing with filters and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, you can pretty much run a 6-inch on a 5-inch setup. Almost.
Mostly,
not
like the defaults are
not like
designed
crazy
for
efficiently, but yeah, it's big quads.
Defaults are definitely not designed for big quads.
No, but some of the ones in EMU kind of are.
There's a couple.
I will say that, and I know. Like Connor's tunes can be very easily modified to fit like a 10-inch or a 9-inch. So those I use EMU on both my larger rigs actually, and mainly because I feel it's a bit smoother on that, and I know Travis was trying to help me tune out some really, really weird prop wash on my original 10-inch build where I was using some super short and wide efficiency master. You remember the 5010s or whatever they were?
Pancakes.
Dude, it was funny because it was a 10-inch and I was like, this is never going to fly well. And it flew great. And I was like, whoa, how, what? Like,
well, you also started with those carbon bi-blades on it, right?
You know, I had the master air screw, but the thing is, like, the thing that was killing me is with those motors, I was getting 9.5 minutes on a fucking 1600 milliamp 6S. Like,
yeah, the big slow motors. You put a big prop on them, they do that, man. Like,
oh yeah, and I was out at the field with Bernard from Rotor Riot down in Florida at that point. Like, I was just cruising around. I'm like, I'm at like 9 minutes. Like, what do I do now?
Like your battery calibration's wrong or something. Like,
yeah, I'm like, it's still reading 3.8 volts, man. What the fuck? Like, but yeah, so now I'm using the ones that Skylar sent me, Brother Hobby 2816 1050s.
Right.
And dude, those things fucking rip. I love
you use those on 10-inch?
Yeah.
10-inch.
It's well, I've propped it down
KV
to 9-inch because I broke all my 10-inch props, and all I had left were the 9-inch 8.
Oh, sorry. What?
Yeah.
Dude,
you power loop through a fucking leaf and they'll shatter. It's amazing.
Yeah. The new batch seems to be a bit more durable. But
it's definitely been improved since like the original ones that came out. The new ones are definitely more durable, but you know, it's still gonna break. Like, it's, you know, you have a prop that big, it's gonna break when you crash, you clip things. My main thing is I want to be able to clip a ninja branch and keep going.
I don't know. Aeronauts tend to cut through most branches, but I knock them
down
loose.
Branches.
Yeah, the problem with the
that's like crazy, you know, that's like the exception to everything.
The problem with the Aeronauts is they're so thick, and the hub is so thick, you don't get a lot of bite on the actual prop nut, and they're easy to knock loose if you don't really crank them down. And so rather than break them, I'll pop them loose. That's in most cases. But those new gem fans are holding up well.
Yeah, I've heard very good things about the new gem fans.
They're fucking 5 grams lighter than any other 10-inch tri-blade, and they're equally as durable, if not more so than. They're definitely more than than the ones we were just speaking about. I hate to
Yeah.
smash everybody's prop. I just hate to say it, dude. But
Dude,
it's like,
I've literally in the past, I'd say month or so, or maybe 2 months, I've flown the Kraken, which is the 10-inch there, maybe 6 times, and I haven't crashed it at all, like not once, but somehow have gone through 6 sets of props.
dude, I used to break HQs pulling my quad out of the car, and it
Yeah,
used to piss me off.
He's pulling his 10-inch out of my car. And just like, I don't know, it clipped like the door, or like the trunk lid or something, and it broke.
Just barely, it just broke. I was just like, piece of shit. Like, so bad,
like, oh, it's, you know, like.
Well, the problem is so like, you know, a cheaper prop is great unless you break exponentially more of them.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what was happening to me. I remember I was trying to take off in those weeds and broke a prop.
Okay,
and I was so mad that day,
got
dude.
spoiled though, because your first big quad, you had those aeronauts.
No, I started with the HQs. I started with the HQs.
You got
the and you get that beat up ass pair of aeronauts, and I was like, and the other nice thing is I like to tune out first on bi-blades, and then, dude, it was a game changer.
I hate bi-blades.
Yeah.
For some reason, I never get them tuned up as good, and they like.
My tunes are better.
They sound rough.
My tunes are better. You've heard mine though. You know mine doesn't sound rough.
Yeah. Well, you got like some voodoo going on. I don't know what the fuck you do, but I never get bi-blades tuned up well. I like to tune with like a low pitch bi-blade, and then later on tune props and adjust for it.
I think bi-blades will show you your tuning problems. If you can tune out for bi-blades, then transferring back to tris is ultimately easier. Yeah. And because you've got less bullshit you're dealing with. So you since you're not worrying about tri-blades and balance of 3 blades and all that bullshit, balance your bi-blades, tune it out, and then use that as a baseline. I know
we have to balance props.
Like, that's the thing that 5
inch 7, or you want to be able to tune up everything really good, you have to balance the props once they're this big. I hate doing that. I'll balance them if I'm trying to get video or like tuning, but then when I'm done tuning and everything's running fine, I don't balance anymore because I ain't got to worry about shit.
So you guys both are old enough in the hobby to remember the little prop balancing stands for those carbon fiber bullshit. Oh my god!
I've got a Dubro, which is like metal rods and it's all plastic and rollers. But
Dubro is like the standard.
Yeah, the Dubro is the shit. You got to have a Dubro if you're gonna fly big quads. It's like mandatory.
Yeah, I found I started needing that a lot more once I got above the 8-inch criteria point. You know, like. It was like, all right, there's some wobble that I can't figure out where the fuck it's coming from.
Well, I think that, balancing, it's good to just rule out the variable when you're initially tuning. And then kind of like Travis says, like, I'll let it slide much, much more once I get the quad nicely tuned, unless it's somehow fucking me. If I'm going out to shoot footage, I'm going to balance.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if I'm going out to just like fuck around, because ultimately you want your quad to be able to handle slightly fucked up props. So I'll run props ragged, you know what I mean, and keep tweaking based on that. But starting out, I like to start with a fresh set of props just to roll it out as an issue. And then
the thing is, I crash way too often. Like, I fly my 9 and 10 inch like people fly 5 inch. I'll put that app you can put a 5 inch through. So I'm breaking props like nonstop. So for me to sit there and balance them all, like it would just be insane. I'd be balancing.
I think to come back to your question, I want to touch on something. Sorry, like you asked, what do we consider a macro quad?
Yeah.
Well, for me, like all the frames that I fly primarily are literally just a 5-inch scaled up, more or less. They're proportionally just a scaled up 5-inch, and I fly it like a 5-inch. If for a macro to really be a macro to me, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for. The fucking style and the CG and the proportions of a 5-inch just big enough to accommodate a 10-inch or 9-inch blade or whatever the case is. A lot of people, some of the beasts, like with X Class, we got into tube arms for a while, and I personally am not a fan of tube arms. Like,
I started the group with this. It's a TBS Source
One. Yeah.
That beefed up the main plates and stretched the arms. Like at the time, there was not a lot of frames, and they were all like $150. So I did this and gave the files away free, so people could at least step into it. But it's just a 5-inch with long arms.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's a very, very good thing. So I've got that one up there. That's the Flynoceros Chronos prototype. Now, Flynoceros, as we all know, disappeared right when COVID hit.
Right.
And we kind of missed that, but Josh gave that up to me to have me and Matt build it up. So we've been building it up. It is tube arm, but they seem, I'd say, double as thick as the ones that I use for like my giant cinema octocopters and shit. Like they're really thick carbon tubes, and they're very precisely drilled and mounted. And so I think it might actually hold up to the
props off on the desk, Travis.
What?
I said props off on the desk.
Off on the desk. Well, I mean, the thing for me is that tubes are too fragile for the kind of flying like Travis and I were doing, especially in New York City. I mean, we are hitting all sorts of areas of concrete. We're smacking these things into trees. We're hitting Pilgrim and shit.
And I tried different tubes.
It's going to be more race. It's going to be more on the race side because it won't be full free. It will do freestyle, but it's not going to fly like a 5-inch. I think it's going to be about 13-inch props, maybe.
Both my bashers run 10 millimeter thick carbon arms.
Yeah,
that's both my 10-inch bashers are 10 mils,
right.
and they're just, dude, they're fucking indestructible. You could beat someone to death and go rip a pack. I mean, they're literally, you know what I mean? It's unreal.
Oh, yeah. Dude, that's why I use the Kraken from 360 Hobbies as my 10-inch, because the one time that I did break it, I broke just the base plate. And so called Skylar, and Skylar literally was like, I'll print you one double as thick. And I'm like, fuck yeah, all right, cool. And he sent me new arms and a base plate, and the arms are, probably 6 mil, 7 mil. Like, they're beasts.
My Bando is brighter, Travis.
With this. Like, these arms are 7 millimeter, and I beat the shit out of this thing.
Yeah.
There's something that goes on with macro quads. Like, I'm not sure of this. I don't know shit. I'm just some guy that breaks things. But now, all right, the thing is, you're going to get this longer arm, and it's going to flex. Like, because it's longer, it's going to have some flex to it.
Yeah.
What I'm thinking is when we're smashing and crashing these things, the arms are long enough that it's going to allow the arm to flex somewhat.
Just a bit.
And not crack.
What? How thick are those, Trav?
These are 7 millimeter, and I've never broken one. You see, I've never broken one of these arms. I've never broken any macro quad arm.
My nasty flexes in the frame. It doesn't. The arms don't have any flex. That's that dual. The ones I fucking laminated together.
Oh right.
Those fucking arms don't flex, dude. They're unreal. It's uncanny.
So we've got a couple of questions here. Travis Zach Carzales wants to know. He said he's curious about your thoughts on the geometry of current large motors. Like, do you think they need to change some of the stator volume, or are you guys happy with what's out there right now for 8-10 inch?
It really depends what you do. I mostly just freestyle stuff. I freestyle and I crash. Like I said, I fly my macros like people fly 5-inch. Usually I get a little bit taller. Like when we had the 2810, the 2812 Brother Hobby Avengers. They were like a little bit weak on 9-inch. They didn't have like a top end, but now we got the 2816, and those things kick ass.
They do.
That's like everything you need. When you flip the 10-inch, you go up to like the 3115.
3115.
But now 3120 is the thing.
I like the wider stator because you tend to get more bottom end torque, and with a bigger blade, I find that's really important. And so like I don't mind the taller volume when I can get it. Like I haven't actually tried the 3120s yet, but I really like to. But I pretty exclusively run a 3115 on my macros for the most part. Even my high voltage rigs, I've just
you're over 30 for 8-inch and above then.
With 8-inch, I would say it's 28, 12 or so is I think I like the most with like 8 and 9. Travis likes 28, 16 on
Like,
9.
28, 12 to 28, 16 is good for your like 8 and 9-inch. Once you go like if you want a really powerful 9-inch or 10-inch, then you go up to the 31 diameter. Yeah, you know what's crazy? I've never had an 8-inch. Oh no, I had one 8-inch quad, but it was built just like a drag quad.
I haven't built an 8
that
yet.
I used a 3115 on there anyway.
So we have a couple of shout outs to do. First off, Carlton B FPV. You know Carlton, Travis.
Yeah.
He's a great guy and a local, and he was also our very first Patreon patron.
Word.
Oh yeah.
He's a wicked dude, and did he just get a frame from you? Or
he's got he ordered up the Evo 10-inch.
Oh, it's that Carlton. Yeah, all right. What's up?
He's got an Evo 10-inch, and the other one I just did a Static X 10-inch.
Yeah.
Basically like the thing with the Evo, that's the one. That's this one.
You can rotate,
and the whole thing is you loosen the bolts and change the position of the arms, so you can build it in wide X, stretched X, dead cat, and switch between them. He loved that, so he got one of those, and then he also got like my just basic like standard symmetrical X frame.
He also fell for the iFlight 5-volt trick too, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know what this iFlight is you speak of.
Dude, he went on the forum the other day about he was like, blew my new iFlight Beast stack. It was the 5-volt port. I'm like, surprise, like,
dude, I got
my box of iFlight fucking blown out 5-volt ports is fucking right here.
But here's the thing though. He was using the 25 by 25 H7 55 amp all-in-one. It wasn't even just like a flight controller and a separate ESC. It was all in one.
With an H7 on that?
25 by 25. That's not, putting that in a 10-inch, you almost should expect something to go bad.
Oh, yeah. I instantly was
for
like,
the 5-volt regulator, I don't know.
I don't fuck with all-in-ones on these.
I have this,
right.
This is a prototype of a 30 by 30 Beast all-in-one.
Yeah.
And I don't have it in my Evo anymore, but this thing held up. Like I do this like normal, and it worked great. The other
don't get me wrong, I got a couple iFlight stacks still kicking, but
I think it's very hit and miss, is what I've found. I mean, personally, it's just like I wouldn't trust them. I just can't. I just can't do it. Like if I'm looking for trustworthy shit, I'm T-Motor, Brother Hobby, fucking Hobby Wing, fucking
I've been running T-Motor ESCs for a while.
Even then, there's caveats to everything. I mean, your mileage will vary. It all depends on how you're setting things up. Like it's like with the Hobby Wing 60 amp. I love that. I love that ESC. I found it very durable, but don't use the fucking 5-volt output off that ESC. Just remove it and forget it exists. Because if you blow it up, the whole fucking thing dies. So and it's easy to kill a 5-volt regulator. So just don't use it. Get 5-volt from somebody else. Like don't take it off the ESC.
Those kind of fell off. Like me and you were using the Hobby Wing 60 amp like for a long time.
Yeah.
And people used it. It was the most popular thing. But then some people just started having problems with it. Like I don't know if something changed, like in manufacturing or something, but all of a sudden a lot of people were having problems.
I've killed.
The biggest thing I hate about them is they come with the flipping. I think the
cap soldered
cables,
on.
No, the cap soldered on is okay,
fucking
kinda, because it's somewhat flexible. But they freaking weld the goddamn cables on, and I can't get my freaking soldering iron hot enough to remove them to freaking resolder them in the direction I want.
I use an 800. I have a special iron that literally it's an 800 watt iron that's just dedicated for fucking lipo leads, and it's the best thing ever because especially on the ground plane, there's so much copper in those fucking foreign ones that it just sucks up heat. So you got to hit it with an overtly hot iron. I mean, to really do it. Your TS 100 or whatever, most standard bench irons, even at 500, don't get hot enough.
No, I've got a 1/4 inch blade for use for the for the tall stuff.
I never had a
Yeah,
problem.
I've got a
trick
big
is to cut the
butane
lead.
one that I use for the big shit.
Yo, you remember? All right, Travis, you remember when you and I were trying to solder that skateboard wire? You know what I'm talking about. So I bought. It was because of that day. I bought this fucking iron. This thing literally glows red hot. It looks like it comes out of a fucking forge, and like I stick it on the fucking shit, and it works. I never had a lipo problem.
Nice.
So Zach
Dude,
Carrizales
I went and bought one of those big, like industrial butane fucking soldering irons for like plumbing solder and shit, and I was like, "This'll do."
Dude,
butane with the battery leads that get stuck on the ESC, like the hobby wing, they come pre soldered on there.
Yeah.
The trick is to cut the leads short, like cut the wire down, so it's only like you have a little bit of the insulation
because it's
left,
not sucking up
much heat. When you make that short enough, you can actually get it hot. Otherwise, the entire wire is going to be sucking away the heat.
I just find that when you're
so
soldering
my trick, just cut the wire short and then desolder. And I haven't had a problem. I have I have the Heiko soldering iron, and now I have the AU whatever shit. It works.
I just found that with ground planes, it's just better to hit them even hotter. It just because that's like I said, the side sucks up a lot of heat. You're a lot more likely to get a bad solder joint if you don't use enough.
Well, you also want to use a tip that's big enough so you can transfer that heat fast enough so you're not going to fry the board.
Yeah, I have like 5 different tips just for every little situation.
Yeah,
I have like a fat chisel tip.
For those,
I've got like a 1/4-inch chisel.
For those watching that don't know, guys, I've seen a few. My TS100 does it all fine. We're not talking about normal boards, guys. We're talking about soldering a big ass XT90 onto a APD 500 amp.
90s,
10-aught, 12-aught cable.
Yeah.
When you get into 10 and 12-aught cable, it's a whole new ball of wax. There's no question.
It's 500 degrees or bust at least.
I mean,
you want it. Well, the cool thing I think about it is if you get it soldered correctly the first time, you're okay. Because once you have the tinned pad and the tinned wire, it really they'll get on there and they'll stick really quick. But if you get it in the wrong spot, trying to reheat it up to remove it is a freaking big pain in the ass. He's got a
this is my fucking iron. This is my iron. This is the one for lipos. And this fucker will take a hobby wing wire off. You literally just touch it on there and pull the wire. It literally will remove it immediately. And I swear to God, it literally will.
Got after that skateboard.
Dude, that fucking skateboard. That was like
there was like
8-gauge wire.
We had like a an electric skateboard, and the battery lead was like this huge wire, and like he's soldering iron. He could not melt the solder to get it off. So he called me up, and I came over there with my soldering iron. So now we got 2 soldering irons.
Yeah, his didn't do it either. So then we had to use 2.
As soon as I touched both of them together, that shit was liquid.
It fucking finally worked. It was insane.
Funny. Yeah.
It was fucking insane.
So, Zach wants to know where you guys find the barrel connectors for your big batteries.
It depends on what like if you're going with an AS150, an XT90. If I'm assuming you're talking about lipo connectors, right? So, I like the Super X connectors because the way they're keyed. A lot of people prefer AS150s because of the anti-spark function. I can't talk. I don't have a lot of spark issue with the Supras that I've noticed. But your mileage will vary. If you're really concerned about sparks, especially on 12S, you want to get an AS150. But the Supras have a higher amperage rating overall. So, I mean, it's just like I said, your mileage will vary. But I get mine from, I don't know, I want to say Heli Direct, my Supras. Where do you get yours from?
I never use the AS150s, like those, separate individual connectors. But now that I mess around, I have a couple ADES things, and the best part about them is you can just connect your batteries,
to one another.
Yeah. Instead of having to make the stupid Y adapter like I do, I could just been doing that this whole time.
I mean, not for nothing, Amazon's a great source. Sorry, I mean, generally for AS150, like for a lot of generic connectors, I couldn't get Supras off Amazon, to be honest. I had to order them from. Like I said, I think it was like Heli Direct.
Like A-Main Hobbies.
A-Main Hobbies is good.
A-Loft Hobbies.
Aloft,
and
yeah.
ready-made RC. They have most of the connectors that I get. I usually end up going through there. Also, Amazon. Like if you're looking for anything,
a lot of generic shit.
Shit.
It's just easy and quick on Amazon, and a lot of them are being, supported by brick and mortar shops, anyways. So you just never.
Well, right, and that's where I've been getting like all my MR30s, MR60 connector, MT60 connectors, things like that.
Yeah.
Just because they've almost always got them, whereas like a lot of the other shops, especially the XT90s, when I was looking for those, they were hard to find.
Right.
One thing I always look for though, it has to be an AMAS connector.
Yes.
It's like XT60, XT90, or like the anti-spark XT90.
AMAS for sure.
AMAS.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Plastic on them, I don't know. Sometimes like I used to solder connectors and like the plastic would get hot and the thing would shift, and then I go to plug it in and it doesn't fit anymore.
Heli guys will know the connectors I'm talking about, the Super X 5 and 6s. If you Google those, basically like an AS150 is a barrel connector. It's circular, but with the Supras, they're actually triangular. And I run male grounds and female positives. Yeah. And so that way there's no way I can plug the batteries in backwards ever, because the way they're keyed, and there's no way they can even touch one another. It's a pretty easy connector to build with, actually, and they're fairly durable.
Let me see here if I can.
Yeah.
Like these here?
It is an RC Pro Plus, but it's Super X6 is what I'm using. That's a solderless connector. Yeah, that's not. It's the RC Pro Plus Super X6 is what I use. I don't know if they have them on there. They might.
Here we go. Pro S6.
That's an S6. So those are square. But those would probably work great. They're expensive. 4 sets, $30. They're expensive connectors.
Yeah, here's the D5s, D4s.
It's this. That place may not have them. Well, maybe there's more. But wait, there's more.
Yeah, S6, Pro S6.
Go down to the bottom and go to the next page. See if they have the.
Now this is all like higher voltage shit.
Yeah, this is all high voltage.
If you're just doing 6S, then most people get away with XT60, no problem. I prefer the XT90 because it's
here's
big.
The Super X6 mil.
I think that might be them if they're triangular, but I mean it doesn't really matter.
No, those are
circular.
Who knows? They could have. Yes, you just definitely want like the anti-spark. Like if it's not anti-spark, you can look at that battery and you just get a big ass spark and you
I always find that as long as I hook my grounds up first, I don't really have too much of a spark issue. Most of it's your caps. Most of it, there they are. X6 Super X. There you go. That's what I use. Yep.
Oh, that was. Yeah, but get careful. If you hit the wrong button, it'll put it in your cart for you.
You use this on the 6S also, or your 8S?
No, I'm using those only on my 8S and 12. But like, I'm not fucking. I use those on the lifters that I built.
You have something 12S now?
I don't. I'm not gonna get. I can't get too deeply into it at the moment.
Oh, but, you got some secrets. Yeah, no, I still haven't. I've not done anything 12S. Like,
right.
I don't know. I feel like X class really needs 12S. Like you get 8S baby stuff, but 12S is where that really is. I never built anything X class that was serious enough.
To be honest, without getting like the 12S is for lifters for me primarily for X8s because you need the extra battery. I personally think 6S macro is just amazing, and 8S is great, but not absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
This is the battery setup I use in my 8S 7-inch. It's two 1300 milliamp 4S, and I cut these little things short. So when I make my little adapter, like that,
Bam.
and then it plugs into the quad with the the AS90.
I mean, I started melting XT60s on mine, so I had to go to the AS90s.
I'm happy that you're saying that because told you would, and you didn't. And I'm
Well,
like,
it's only it only
yeah.
happens when they get worn and they start making not good connection and they start arcing. But as soon as that happens, they melt. They melt down pretty bad.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah,
AS,
If it doesn't get warm, then it's fine.
the AS90 is just a little more robust connector and it's less likely, but still could happen, I suppose. But.
Well,
I like
the
it 'cause
XT90s, you really want to
work.
maintain the connector for a tight fit. Otherwise, you're going to have heat issues big time, and it's not.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
So-
and as you're getting into higher voltage and higher amps, that whole problem becomes exponentially more serious.
Yeah. Well, see, more amps equals bigger arc, right? At least last time I checked.
Most, excuse me. Most of the issue is all the additional capacitance, because most people are, especially when you get into APD rigs and stuff, you're running like on some of these ESCs, you're running 3 caps per ESC plus a ton of capacitance on the PDB, and then probably a LiPo cap, and there's so much fucking capacitance in these rigs that they just store a fuck ton of voltage,
Like
and
that
that's
initial
where
plug-in is going to charge up all the caps. And
it's
if you have a
actually
lot of them, they're gonna
discharging. It's actually all that energy stored, and so when you plug in, you ended up discharging your cap split second, and then they fucking refill.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's where the spark is.
There's a rig you
I
can
thought it was
build.
like they, are pulling real quick.
Yeah.
You know.
There's a rig you can build. I've seen a lot of folks doing this with RC cars that are very high powered.
Mm-hmm.
They with the capacitors and everything, they'll pull the battery and then they'll plug in what seems to be like a smoke stopper with a little light, and you'll see it light up for a bit while the capacitor is empty, and then it's like, all right, we're good.
Yeah, you can. I mean, with what we used to do, when we were doing electronics, is we would just literally drop a resistor across them, and that would drain it down. So you could literally build an XT60 with a resistor setup. You would just have to do some math and figure out what value you need.
Yeah.
But you could drop a resistor on it, and you could literally bleed that current off.
So even though this is a macro-centric episode, we are at some point in the evening going to be giving away a D-Quad Obsession.
I love that frame.
Yeah, I always love that thing.
That's one of my favorite quads of all time.
Dude, it's always been a great quad, and like so many quads tried to copy it and just couldn't. And that's the thing.
I like the pod design, like that.
Dude, it's a great design.
Thing,
it's durable, flies great. It's a great quad.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very well balanced. This one has no receiver at the moment, but everything else is pretty much plug and play, or bind and fly, or whatever. So
yeah, I had the Gep RC knockoff version of that one.
Yeah, this one was donated to our stream for tonight's giveaway by Jeff Poole, Spooner FPV.
Spooner FPV.
That was one of my earlier frames. The D-Quad Obsession. My buddy Ryan, who passed away, got me turned on to those, and he had like 3 of them at one point.
Nice.
Fucking great frame.
Oh yeah. Jeff Poole says it flies great, and good luck to everybody.
Yeah, good luck.
So yeah, we'll do that giveaway or like a wheel spin or something towards the end of the evening for this one. We also have from Spooner and Flight Test, we have a bunch of props, so we can add in a bunch of props for giveaways as well. So.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm not sure if we're hoping to have Matt Nowakowski, aka Sidewinder, pop in at some point. We're also hoping to have Colby pop in from DRL. He's the DRL X class builder. So we're hoping to have a couple cameo spots tonight as well, fitting with our genre. But if there's any questions, guys, now would be the time. If you're looking to get into X class or macro quads or any of that, or long range or whatever, these are the guys to ask.
It's just funny because when Travis started building big quads, he was more building in the X class tube frame stuff, and then to see the progression.
I went from small to big.
Yeah, you went from micros to giant.
I went the other way. I went the other way because I started in the film world using those giant Alta X bullshit.
Well, yeah.
And then I found like 5-inch FPV at one point and was like, okay, this is pretty fucking cool. Started doing that, and now I run micro quad squad.
Right.
So I pretty much everybody knows me for micros when I like started in doing these giants. So.
I think a lot of people started with big AP platforms and shit, and then
I started out with this. I had the DJI F450, and then I converted to the
flame wheel.
Old flame wheel, yeah.
Right?
I was gonna say.
So
that's a NASA on there too.
Disco. I started with
That's
this, and I got into like filming weddings and stuff for a while.
Oh yeah.
And so I started with this, and then after this, I went to 5-inch. Then I went to smaller, like micros, 3-inch and stuff, and then back up to the X class, and then settled back down to like macro 9, 10-inch.
Yeah,
I have the most fun with it. I don't know, out of every quad, everything I've ever built, I get the most.
I think
I
flying with
10-inch.
Flying with you in New York was probably some of my best memories of all time. Because I mean, you and I had so much fun chasing each other through the fucking parks and shit, dude. And like, it was fucking crazy. And when everybody else is flying 5-inch quads and they can't even keep up, they're just like not even.
Yeah.
Try to follow me and make like peace videos, and it didn't work.
I went out a couple months ago with Anthony Bennett, Twan's FPV, like super wicked freestyle pilot, and he was just flying his 5-inch, but I broke out the 10-inch and was just cruising around, diving a few trees and shit. And he was sitting there, and I'd hit the throttle, and 2 seconds later, it's on the other end of the park. And he's like, "What the fuck?"
It's something I didn't realize. Like when I was building them and flying them, I didn't realize how much faster they are. Like, initially, I didn't realize how much more ground I was covering. And
from the FPV cam, the scale is way weird. It really does look strange.
Dude, I figured this one out. I figured this one out. You guys are gonna laugh so hard. I use a Caddx 1.6 for my macro builds.
Okay, it's super wide.
Yeah, super wide. It makes me feel like it's a 5-inch. I don't know what it is, but like all my 5-inches have like 1.8 is the lowest I'll go, you know? But I've got the 1.6 Rattel in my Kraken, and it's fucking amazing. Like,
yeah, I run the Rattel on one of my rigs right now, and then I'm running DJI on the other one, which is kind of my test platform at the moment.
Hey Travis, you got any of your parking garage videos kicking around?
Yeah, just it's on my Facebook.
Okay.
I don't do like YouTube stuff. I don't upload anything to YouTube ever. I don't have an Instagram. Like I just make my little 1-minute videos and put it on Facebook.
And for those who don't know, Travis is currently banned on Facebook at the moment.
Yeah, everything's always constantly getting banned on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm on a 30-day ban. I made like some stupid joke, but
are you on a ban again?
Yeah, I'm on a 30-day ban. Somebody was in a TBS group and somebody wrote like, what does it take to become a black sheep? And I made like a stupid joke. I said, well, first, I'll leave out the first part had something to do with like murder, but whatever. That was the part I got. The other thing was you have to send Trappy a dick pic and blow my chin. But it was the first part. The murder part was a joke, obviously. But they got me banned for 30 days for inciting violence.
Oh my god.
And like, and this is like the third time it's happened, because the first one, like I saw a post about a car accident, like somebody crashed into a really old collector's car, and I'm like, oh my god, I'd kill that guy. Facebook's like, inciting violence.
You should have replied with that old meme of Trappy in the unicorn outfit called Trappycorn.
Yeah. I'm gonna start everything like I think is gonna be controversial. I'm just gonna start posting it as like words in a JPEG,
right?
And then maybe I won't get banned anymore. Because I don't know, maybe they don't look at that stuff. But there was something I got threatened in the macro quad group because I said something I think that was inciting violence also, and they threatened to like close the group down because like I'm an admin in my own group, so they were like saying they're
Yeah,
gonna-
if admins get strikes, so like as you know, I admin a shit pile of stuff, and if admins are the ones actually getting strikes in a group, the group can get shut down.
you endanger the
Oh
group.
yeah.
Yeah, it's insane.
That's why I made Chad admin of the group also. So if I get kicked out, maybe he'll be able to like
Deal.
take it
with
over or something. Or,
Yeah,
like
we've done the same with optimized drone, and I've got a few extra admin on Micro Quad Squad and all the others.
You
that I
need
run
to.
too.
Yeah.
Just mainly because I was like, I'm gonna say something one day,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna get banned. Like,
I got scared. I'm like, oh shit! I didn't realize that's even a thing they would do. Like
yeah,
there's not many groups that focus on like the bigger quads. It's like there's a couple, but it's mainly it. So I don't know.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
the ones that do tend to be the big AP rigs too. Like they don't tend to be like FPV macros. They tend to be fucking that shit.
Yeah, I mean, well, again, once you get into 8S and bigger than like 10 and up, I consider those to be beasts. And then anything else is either X class or it's an AP rig. I don't even like consider anything to be macros are really unique, niche-y, like I said, size and style, right? Because it's just there's as Travis said, there isn't a massive availability for good fucking frames, and that's for me is very crucial. Travis's designs have done a lot to lent a lot of great stuff to the community to give people an affordable option. Because like as he said earlier, there's some pricier.
There's some really good ones. Like
there's some really great ones, but they tend to be pricier.
Standing quads. You have like that nasty
stand-in is
but it's still like they're a little bit expensive. They're worth it. They're really worth it.
The thing that and not to take anything away from the Source One by any means, but the stand-in is probably the epiphany almost. It's like the pinnacle of macro because they are purpose built from the ground up to be a macro quad. So the fuselage dimensions and proportions are also exponentially scaled to fit and whereas like my BQE Bandolero macro it's a Bandolero,
it's a giant
fuselage, it's a giant 5-inch but I did modify it so that the build deck is 4 mil, which it now is standard if you get one. But originally I actually laminated 2 pieces of carbon together, 2 mil pieces, and so I do 4 mil, 10 mil, 4 mil in the sandwich, and it's indestructible as far as I can tell. Like
here's our beast. This is the Flynoceros Kronos.
Look at that! Look at the canopy. Jesus.
Shout out to
Josh was really smart with some of his designs. I miss him being in there.
Dude, I mean, their OG slammed quad that came out in like 2016 was so dope, man.
The rat?
No, the butterfly.
The butterfly.
Oh yeah.
I have a prototype over here in a bag, Chad.
That's a cool frame. Like that's one thing I miss. We were talking about that on B2P recently. Like with the advent of digital and the DJI fucking air unit and whatever else that's so ginormous, like it's so hard to do slam builds now, and it fucking sucks because I'm a huge fan of slam builds, and I'm hoping that these HD0 and Orca options might get us back to that. I think I see HD0 doing it hopefully sooner than anyone, really, because their 1 watt's pretty low profile. There's nothing like throwing a fucking Unify in the back of a fucking quad and slamming it down so it's like 5 mil, 5-6 mil tall, and just like there's nothing in there. It's amazing. CG is important.
The whole benefit to the slam stuff was because you're top mounting your batteries, right?
Well, then it brings the battery CG down, so your whole CG is tighter.
Yeah, it's more like on level with the prop.
So that's why I did this one. So if you look, this is the OG Nemesis 6-inch.
Yeah.
So if you look at the back, I mean that back. If I can get a good angle on it, it's 18 mil
Right.
So in the set, it's 18 mil in the center as well, just tall enough for ESC 4-in-1 and a flight controller. And then it's got 25 mil on the front. And then I did the recessed GoPro a little bit to bring that down.
I love the Nemesis 6-inch. That's one of my daily drivers.
It's pretty narrow on the top. Obviously, the squished X.
So this
Beautiful.
is my 360 Hobbies Kraken. Obviously, I have a mount on there for a very specific camera, so I'm just gonna not go into that. But this one I have fallen in love with, and I don't think I've tried the fucking iFlight XL series frames. I've tried all that shit. This one just holds up and it flies perfectly. And as I've extended it, but it came slammed a lot more than this.
So I bottom mount batteries always.
Yeah, and the battery already
always bottom mount. So I've never done like the slam thing. I did it once, and I bottom mounted the battery, and somebody's like, "What are you doing? Like, why would you do that?"
I didn't, and that's the thing. Like, I top mount it, so I was fine with it where it was, and it handles just like a 5-inch. Like it's seriously, I fly that just like I fly my Flyno Skull. You know, like I rip it through trees. I when I power loop, I still jack the throttle, but I'm like, oh, I'm a lot higher up now. Great. Awesome.
So I want to pause and say hello to a bunch of people that have jumped into the stream. We got Max Air 420s here, Rick James here.
We got
Danish Stallion as usual. Mr. Spat is in the house. Ken FPV is in the house. Welcome. Jay Miller FPV in the house. Carlton B, he's been here for a while. MD25 TSI. It's Chris Justice. Welcome, Chris. Thanks for joining in. Shelby Voles in the house. What's going on, Shelby?
What's up, Shelby?
Master Hydrones, Hydrone 69 FPV, aka Master Roshi FPV, the longest FPV name in FPV history. That's okay. I think we're caught up now. Awesome.
And then we had Reckless FPV from Canada. You remember Reckless, right?
Yep.
He and his girlfriend Haley were some hot shit for a while in the FPV world. Stoner Trash. You remember Stoner Trash?
Yep.
I think that was her name. Is that her name? Stoner Trash?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Reckless
is here. What's up, Reckless? You and Haley are coming on the damn show. Sorry.
So I have a macro-ish quad that I'm working on.
Macro?
A macro-ish. It'll be 7, 8, and 10.
Yo. Even though it's called the Necromancer, because it's going to be a macro, you should call the big one the Macromancer.
Macromancer.
So it's a little bit bigger than your average freestyle quad because I want it to be able to fit like the bigger 3000. Like I've got these Pyrodrone 6S 3300 batteries on it, and it'll fit that top deck like no problem.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
So
I never pay attention to that because I was
So this is the 8. So I made the deck big enough to fit the big batteries, right? And it's got these are 8-inch arms. These are 3010 motors on it. The front, you can see the camera kind of sits right at the deck level, extended on the front. But I kind of designed it so we could move the the FPV cam,
That's
and
cool.
the GoPro cam together. And then this is set back 3 mils from the bottom. So the bottom jaw plate's 3 mils thick, and then the camera plate is set back 3 mils. So no matter what you hit on the front, it's going to protect the thinner cam plate.
Yeah.
And then it tightens down with just 2 screws here and then 2 screws here at the hinge.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did it so I could do. I actually have.
Those are the MR30s, right?
No, these are MT60s.
MT60s, sorry.
Yeah, these are MT60s. And then I did a separate set of arms for my 7-inch arms with a quick with the AMAS MT60 plug, so I could just swap them out. These arms, the way I've got them designed, if you remove the outside screw and you loosen the inside screw, they just kind of slide forward and out. So you can swap them out in about 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes.
Without pulling the whole damn frame apart like all those others.
So, yeah, it's not. So if you ever need to, 10-minute swap in the field,
that's dope.
10 to 15 is what I average. But I haven't been practicing like doing it fast. I can swap an arm, a single arm in a race between rounds.
Chad, your lighting is spectacular for that quad.
Dude, I know it's totally black quad. Look, I was actually, I know I was like sitting here thinking like, I might have to.
You need more lights in your dungeon there, man.
See if
Jack up the brightness on your screen.
There you go.
Look at one quad to light the whole thing up.
This is my stand-in, which runs at probably one of the most obscene camera angles. It's fucking...
that's like that's a Matty Stunts fucking angle right there.
It's a DJI. This is a DJI rig.
Nice.
What's the thickness on your arms?
This is 2 by 5 mil laminated, so it's 10 mil total.
Okay.
So it's 2 5 mil, but it's interesting because you may or may not be able to see it.
I've seen them I've seen similar like that.
You can see
that's one of the things that the stand-in is doing. They do like you join 2 5 millimeters together to create a 10 millimeter. And I didn't appreciate that at first, but it's so much cheaper. There's one quad.
It's cheaper to cut, yeah.
I have one quad that has like this really long 10 millimeter tail. I'll show you in a second. But like if you get it in 10 millimeter, it's so damn expensive. When I got it in 2 5 millimeter plates, I had to ask if he did it right because it was so cheap.
Well, this one's very stretched, as you can tell. And this is the one that Travis would always have trouble keeping up to.
So one of the things I wanted to comment on the Necromancer was this is, if you look, this is 8-inch, so you're going to have no props in view on 8-inch.
Yeah, I can see that. The offset or cantilevered front camera is cool.
Yeah.
And this is my Bando build out. This was a prototype before when we were just kind of kicking the idea around. And then these arms were expensive. I had these cut. It's 10 mil solid carbon plate. But this one flies amazing because it's a smushed X. So it's the geometry is fucking fire.
So I'm going to show you something here. Hold on.
Now that the Necromancer is, I believe, slightly squished as well.
So
I like squish for freestyle.
Yeah,
I like it for really smooth footage. Like the first quad I ever designed, the Nemesis.
Yeah,
was a squished X,
Mm-hmm.
and it.
So
I mean, it's for a 6-inch. It's got super clean air. I mean, you can kind of see that the props are.
It's made it fucking amazing for micro too, because this is my Nemesis V2, and I get on my lithium ion setup, I get 15 minutes of freestyle.
Yes, I was the first person to bring squished X to a micro.
15 minutes, and then we also have the Nemesis X8, Mistress Helen.
Ha that thing is just freaking nuts, dude.
All of these are squished X, and they literally, every time I fly a different frame or test a different frame or build out something new, you always got to get used to it. But I always end up, when I go ripping, I always end up coming back to the squished X for like actual proper rippage, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if I want to go fast, I tend to run stretched, and then if I'm more into, it's like on my Bandolero 10-inch, I run a lower camera angle, and that's more of my like getting steezy. I've also like Swift Ducks got me fucking with linear rates on my 10-inch. Which is insane. Insane.
We had Greg on a little while ago.
Yeah, Greg's my homie, as you know. Fucking
So
we're trying out. So right now I'm in the process. The Bando is actually missing props right now because I fucking steezed it right into a fucking cornfield. But it was awesome. It exploded. Like everything came off the quad except the quad. But it was awesome, and like I didn't actually break anything. I broke the GoPro mount and battery leads were destroyed, but trying to retune out a 10-inch quad for stees is really interesting. So I'm going to super linear, no expo, and just trying to get the tune as snappy as I can on the front end, which is interesting for a big quad that doesn't want to move quite as fast, so to speak, as fucking 5-inch. So
now, one thing I found out: do you use air mode on your macro quads?
Yeah, absolutely.
You do? Because I found that I think the iGain blew my ESC.
iGain absolutely can cause tons of problems on a big quad. There's absolutely
the first time I flew mine, I went I did a couple of slow runs up and down the flight field just to kind of make sure everything was not going to fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
But finally, it seemed like it was locked pretty good. So I did a high speed run, and man, I went to do like a split S maneuver, and as soon as I let off the throttle and went backwards like this, it just kind of, and then the one ESC, I hear the fizzle because it was close enough to me, and then it just dropped, and then the arm broke, shattered.
I use really, really low iGains.
Yeah, I start with low, and I
25-ish, something like that. Like I don't know. People ask me about it, like why I do that, and I don't see any need to raise it higher. Like to me, I feel like my quad flies really good.
Well, I was also using 6S on a motor that was it was 20. God, what are those motors, Dan? 2410s, 21, 4120. Sorry,
4120s.
4120 650 kV on 6S. So they were a motor that I had. This is back when X-Class first came out, and I had a motor company make me some.
What size prop?
13s.
Oh, okay, I was like 6. Okay. Word. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, with 5-inch, everybody, especially there was like a trend for a while where everybody would just take their iGain, especially their iGain on yaw, and like jack it to like 125 or some ridiculous number. And the thing is like, with these big quads, you have, especially like I have a train of thought when I build my bigger quads. I'm going for very high thrust to weight overall. Like I run really high thrust to weight. I run higher than technically necessary KV, generally speaking, and then I tune down as needed and then tune back up as needed. And when the thing is, when you have a lot of thrust to weight, you have inherent holding power. You don't need to crank your iGain. You already have inherent holding power, and all you're doing potentially is ultimately going to create oscillation in the I-term if you just crank it up too much. Right. And Travis, we used to see kids back in the day, kids would start trying to fly it, and they would arm the quad, and the quad would start taking off.
Oh yeah.
And it's because, and they're like, dude, take your I-term and drop it to 10 and tell us if it happens. And they were like, no, it's fixed. Like, yep. Too much I-term will cause a flyaway. And it's just interesting. So you need to tune it up. Like, I don't recommend, and then there's always the question is like, how overtuned can you take some of these? Because there was one point on my nasty, I had it completely overtuned, and I was like, there's no reason for it to be tuned this high. And then I kind of settled where I felt it was good. But now that I'm doing a lot of testing on the Gem Fan stuff, I've been retuning for tri-blades because I was running bi-blade almost exclusively for a long time. And one thing I wanted to make a note of is that bi-blades, I find my bi-blades give me ultimately higher speed, but I see way less sag on punch out on a tri-blade.
Yeah.
So the thing I like about the bi-blades is the blade is not liable to break when you crash.
Well, that's the thing. The durability on the aeronauts for me has been really good. They break, and when they do break, they break at the tips, which for me is where I want them to break. I'd never want to lose a whole blade at the hub because if you do, you are definitely crashing. If you blow a tip, you're gonna see it, and you can probably come in no issues. But if you blow the whole fucking blade off a tri-blade, you're coming in or you're smoking a motor.
Or if it's just bent. If it's just bent, you can usually limp your way back, Well,
yeah. I mean, but with certain tri-blades, I would look at a branch funny and I'd blow a fucking blade off.
Oh, yeah. The hubs
and it's like
tear apart.
And it was just like, fuck.
The aeronauts is like a weird prop, though, because it's a 10. The ones that we can use is a 10x7.
Yeah, it's a 7-inch.
And 7 is like that's huge on pitch. That's like
they're aggressive,
really out of the norm. Another one you might want to look for. Grapner. Grapner, German company, used to make like 10, like very lightweight 10 by 5.
So
9
hard
by
to
5,
find
8 by
those
5.
props though.
The company Grapner stopped making props, and I don't know if they sold off the manufacturing or whatever to a new company called Super S. Now they're called Super S, and they got them at Aloft Hobbies and
oh no shit,
somebody else, dude. Like they're readily available. They're 10 by 5, 9 by 5, super lightweight.
I gotta check those out.
Jeff Poole works with Flight Test, and I know they had a deal with Grapner for a long time.
Well, to what you were.
Pardon?
I just want to make a comment on what Travis's comments. So you're saying that you think the 7-inch pitch is high on a? It is. I don't think so.
If you could think of like along the lines of normal props.
Yeah, but think about it. A tri-blade is typically 50 or 5-inch pitch. You know what I mean? It's typically a 5-inch pitch, right? Yeah. And so, but you have 3 blades, so you're making up for it the lack of one blade with the higher pitch to cut in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, I get. Yeah, it's so much. The thing I didn't like about the Grapners was like at low speed stuff. Like mostly where I fly, it's like more technical. Like more technical, slow flying, and those bi-blades, I don't know, just around like slow going around corners, I just always felt like I had to give it too much throttle.
If you don't dig in quartering on a bi-blade, you're gonna skate. You're gonna skate wide. You'll blow your cornering out. So that's part of the reason why on the Nasty I run such high pitch, because I'm just steady dug in, and when I corner, it just turns on a dime. But if
you're high on throttle, like flying fast, aeronauts are awesome.
But if you're trying to corner slow on an aeronaut, you'll slide wide, and sometimes you can basically run your ass into shit if you're not careful.
That's kind of what I always felt about bi-blade props. I never been a fan of bi-blades.
They're not as grippy in a corner at low pitch or at low angle. They're not nearly, and you're more likely to balloon if anything. If so if you don't dig in and if you don't nose down, dig in and fucking go for it, you're gonna blow wide. Or you're gonna fucking balloon really hard. So it's tough.
I got to try
a little bit of both.
These HQ props. It's a 7.5 by 5, and going from like 7-inch tri-blade to 7.5 bi-blade, it felt good. I felt like that extra half-inch made up for the loss of the third prop. They're like the only bi-blades I ever actually liked.
Yeah, APC makes a couple interesting pitches too. They've got some 6s and some other things that are they're cool and they're pretty durable overall. I mean, I haven't gone crazy with APC, but they're solid.
Those are like speed props. Like if you want to go fast, you get a high pitch APC. Like that. Like I said, that one 8-inch I built was an 8x8 prop, 8x8 bi-blade from APC on a Brother Hobby T5 and 50 kV on 8S. That thing did like 145 miles an hour.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that like the aeronauts and the Grapners and and the APCs and a lot of those props were just plain props that we adapted. It isn't until recently where we're starting. That's one thing that's why I really got behind the Gem Fan offering, because it was another 10-inch purpose-built prop in the market, which I just wanted to see it be right. Like I was like, we have the opportunity to make a prop right, so let's try to grab it and seize it and make it happen, because we need options. In 13, 12, 11, and 10, there's so little options.
I've been harassing Master Air Screw like at every chance I can get. I have a specific prop I want. I want a 9.5 by 6 by 3. Made just like they make their X-Class ones. Like their X-Class prop is a little bit heavy, but it's like really durable. Like you could crash their 13-inch prop and not break all of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what I want. That material in a 9.5 by 6 by 3.
Aces Fulls in the chat. He's actually rocking the 13-inch Gem Fans and seems to be happy with them overall.
I need to get a set of those soon.
So Athix, you're asking, yes, you have to roll. If you're going fast, you have to roll into a turn because you're angled like this.
Well, yeah.
So if you're flying and you want to turn, you really need to roll, but you also need to yaw to keep your camera into the turn.
Once
So
you
it's going to be a lot of roll, and you're also the more vertical you are, the more you're gonna, or the less yaw you're gonna have to put in. But yes, you definitely need to roll for a turn in racing.
nose down, ass up, and roll into it. Exactly, like you're nosing down. So when you're nose down, so there's one thing about my rates actually I wanted to touch on as to what Matt was saying is because you're at such high pitch, you're not actually using much yaw at all.
Yeah.
You're almost exclusively using roll. So I actually set my rates kind of funky. When I'm going for speed specifically, I actually run a higher yaw because I don't actually use much yaw. And so when I do use yaw, I don't want it to fuck with my throttle control. So I'll run sometimes I'll run my rates as my pitch and roll as low as into the 300s, but I'll leave yaw at like 700 and I barely touch it because I'm so into just throttle control and maintaining my altitude. And since I'm at such a high angle, I have to really maintain really good throttle control at all times. So if I do need to use a little bit of yaw, I just want to be able to just barely bump it to correct and keep trucking. And then I actually technically run just a little bit lower on pitch because I don't need to make as much pitch correction. And I'm using way more roll. So I leave my roll where I need it. And then I'll lower pitch a bit and I'll have yaw up a bit higher. And those are basically my racing rates or high speed rates. Because to answer, directly, because you're barely using yaw at all once you get up here.
And like I said, the faster you're going, the less yaw you use. So like me, I'm still using quite a bit of yaw because I'm running it probably 70, 75 mile an hour, where all the pro racers are running 100, 110 mile an hour through the same section. So
they, I'm trying to think if there's anything else worth touching on there, but I mean, really, that's it.
Let me ask you something weird I've never seen discussed. All right, like on your radio, you can adjust your spring tension on your sticks.
Mm-hmm.
How do you decide what's good? Now, let me tell you what I did, because this is kind of... So basically, the tension on the stick for up and down, left and right.
Travis plays a fucked up mode, by the way. I'm just going to point this out.
This is my pitch and roll, and then my throttle and yaw is here. But so whatever, ignore that.
He's backwards.
Mode 1. Yeah, you're mode 1.
This is mode 3.
It's mode 3,
I got pitch and roll, and then yaw and throttle. But whatever. So what I do is I adjust my spring tension so that when I move my thumb naturally, I can go right up to that corner. So like I have a little bit different tension on the pitch than the roll. So my thumb, when I go that way, it just naturally goes right to the corner. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like if they were to, like, if I match them to the same, I don't go right to the corner. I always ended up like a little bit to the left, like a little bit low, or a little bit to the,
I like mine to feel like a new PlayStation controller.
Huh?
I like my springs to feel like a brand new PlayStation controller. If you're a PlayStation gamer and you know what a PlayStation controller feels like when you take one fresh out of the box and the springs are nice and tight, but just tight enough and just right, like that's how I like mine.
I'm gonna have mine a little looser than what normal people like, but I've got my throttle, and I fly mode 2, but my throttle and yaw thumb, it dislocates on me and then it locks up on it. Does really weird shit to me.
Are you a thumber?
Mode 3, I'm not sure if it'd help for racing. I might like mode 1. I think might.
He is bass backwards.
No, I started out with like the Walkera Ladybird, and you can set it up. Like the initial thing is you have to set up the controls the way you want it. I didn't know anybody else that flew anything at all, so I thought what you do is you just make it how it makes sense to you. To me, it just made sense for pitch and roll to be on the left and throttle and yaw to be on the right, kind of like in a video game. Like if you're flying like an aircraft in a video game or something like that.
And then all the video games changed to mode 2, and you got
if a video game is not mode 2, it is. I will make it mode 2. Like every Battlefield, everything. I change everything to mode 2. That's how I play every game.
I play Counter-Strike. Like with your left hand, it's strafe. Like you move forward and back, strafe left, strafe right. with your left,
Mhm.
you know, and then you use like your right to look like your. And I don't know. To me, I did what made sense to me, and then when I met a bunch of people that fly, I found
Everybody
out
thought you were crazy.
nobody does this. Like they follow, you know.
I remember I was like, Travis, let me fly your quad. He's like, you won't be able to. I couldn't fly his quad.
I fly mode 3, and they're like, what the hell is that? Nobody even knew that was a thing. I'm like, you know, nobody can ever fly my quads. They've tried, and what they do is they end up with the quad going up full throttle and back. It's crazy as shit. It's funny.
All right, welcome everybody. Look, the most prevalent nipples in FPV have graced our stream. Jeff Hardy in the house. What's going on, Jeff Hardy? Dude, Jeff's doing this Drone Ventures, man. You guys are 10 days out. Freaking Drone Adventures 2022 going on with North Carolina.
Yep, I've got my banner on its way out there. I'm shipping it out tomorrow morning, I think.
Yeah, so I started to stuff this bag, and then it got a little bit. I don't like everything's not in there, so I had to go to the post office and get get one of these big FPV box things to I'll be shipping it out priority either tomorrow or Tuesday, but I'm gonna send it'll take 2 days to get there. It's no big deal.
Yeah. So while we got everybody here and while we've got a little bit of a break, let's start doing a hashtag lineup for the D Quad. So what do you guys want to promote?
Hashtag get some D Quad.
I thought we were keeping this G-rated, man.
I did get some D Quad. It's a freaking. What do you mean? Y'all are perverted. Stop, man. Trying to make me seem like I'm an old, dirty old man or something.
I don't know. So, Travis, you got anything that you think should hashtag for a D Quad? I guess. Any topics? Any crazy sayings? I don't know. Get some D Quad. Turn in the corner racing. No.
Free the tamales.
My mind is stuck on get the D now.
Get the D.
Yeah, that's where my mind keeps going. So yeah, that's it. Get the D.
All right.
Jeez.
All right. We got. Everybody seems to. Get some D Quad, damn it. Right. Yes, I play this, says Puff Puff Puff. Hi.
Danish value with the hashtag mode 3.
Hashtag mode 3. I don't know. It just made sense to me. It just mode 3. I don't know. It just that was what I went with. And everybody yelled at me.
I know. Well, the problem always was like you'd be like, dude, I want you to fly my quad, and I'm like, I can't fucking fly that thing. Your controller's out of control.
I know.
It's like, I was like, I'd be like, Travis, you should fly my quad. He's like, I can't fly your fucking quad. I'm like, God damn it. It's like so
really fun to fly though.
Fucking bad.
Carlton's hashtag is the best. It's hashtag Travis looks like Grizzly Adams.
Oh man, yo, you know what? This whole thing. I never go to a barber. Like I don't go to barbers. I just every couple months I shave my head. Like I'll shave my head. I'll shave my beard like 3 times a year. But like I said, I've been working from home now, and I don't have to go out and see people, so I've been ignoring it.
Oh, and COVID was in New York. It was
I like the beard. I like the beard, but I want to shave my head because this is annoying. But then if I shave this and I leave the beard, then I look like really fucking weird.
Well, you look like Artie. If you shaved your head and kept the beard, you look like fucking Artemis.
Who's Artie?
Artemis Prime, my co-host on BTP.
I don't know anybody.
Danish Stallion says, "Can't you turn the control off?" Yeah, but your throttle would be backwards, Danish. You can turn your controller upside down.
And it's far too much to think about.
And your pitch, I mean, everything would be reversed.
The last thing you want to worry about is some fucked up controls on a 10-inch quad that can tear your face off. Like
come on, no problem.
There's no fucking danger, dude. I started using pre-arm switch first. I used to never use a pre-arm switch. I was one of those guys who didn't give a fuck. And 10-inch quad, first thing, pre-arm switch. Now all my quads have a pre-arm.
So speaking of macro quads, you guys saw Lexi Jansen just moved to Australia to fly inside
an actual real life
inside racing quads. Man, that's about as macro as you can get right now.
Right?
The manned
FPV racing. That's, I mean, to be honest, there's like between friends and I, we always talked about, racing will never catch on unless it's big enough where people can really watch it on the sidelines well. And I don't think that the races have, there hasn't been enough investment to make the races such that the crowd can really watch. Like if you were to have a race and just like rent out FPV goggles for everybody so they can kind of scan through and you give them a little, you give them the race roster, and who's going to be on what channel so they can pick whatever pilot they want to watch, that kind of thing would be great.
Or an app on your cell phone.
But I think with the advent of HD0, I think we might get a little more because it'll be a little easier to transmit into high def format for like a big screen on stadiums and things like that. So hopefully it's all about who's got the big investment money. You know what I'm saying, and who's gonna commit to helping that advance. It's not like we've got big oil and gas companies and parts companies like racing does.
I mean, in DRL's our best bet right now as far as getting it. They at least have got budget to put together some pretty awesome events and things.
They kind of are, but I think what's holding us back is because they use their own proprietary shit. There's no advertising. What are you going to advertise on DRL?
The new DRL thing, the 5G T-Mobile. Remember like pictures of that pink one? That's
I mean, but like
it's macro.
We need it really sucks because the margin is so low in the FPV community. You really have to sell volume to make money. But as far as like we need, like if you see racing, all the racing and everything is advertising from people within the industry. You got iBox Springs, you got your Toyo tires and all the rest.
You're not getting Budweiser to sponsor your little drone thing.
What I'm saying is like DRL to do like an ATT and Sprint and stuff. That's not going to further our industry, right? It's not going to do anything for us as FPV. The way that DRL is set up, it's not. It'll be great as far as maybe trying to attract people to get it to watch. I think it needs to be produced a little bit better. But other than that, like we need a way for the grassroots, I guess.
The man stuff is definitely going to push it a lot further for sure. I mean, what Lexi's doing and things of that nature. I think it's going to push the community and the awareness of drone racing in general a lot.
Well, what I'm trying to say is, I think the people who are making the big money in the industry, there's a few exceptions, but for the most part, they're not putting the money back into the industry.
Well, I don't think there's too many people making big money in the FPV side of the industry.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, it's a hard thing. You have to sell volume. There's not a lot of margin in any of the stuff. It's lower. Like most industries operate. If you can't get a 50% margin, you don't sell it.
Well, that's what the boutique filming.
You can't get wholesale shit and sell it for 50% margin, and freaking people will not buy it.
The filming side of things with the cine lifters is doing a lot of good, and you do have better margins because the film industry has budgets to work with where they can afford a custom made FPV drone X8 system like a Shendros or something that's built out really nice by someone, and fucking is giving you an assurance it's tuned and running and tested and blah blah.
Right,
blah,
and
blah,
that's where I give Troy Nakeen props for getting into that with QSL, where he's everybody say, "Oh, I'll never buy his shit; it's overpriced." But it's for people who are doing professional work, a professional rig, that's set up, tuned, and the way he's got it set up.
It's a double-edged sword. There's some
before you put on your $10,000 camera.
Of course not. I mean, there's some people that I think. Troy stuff's not expensive for what you get at all. I mean, there's I think some people do maybe dig in a little deeper in that, but but I'm not going to get into that. I think some people are a little bit overpriced. But I think Troy, for what he's paying for it, he's doing a lot of development work. He's building and having them tuned out and shipping and support and the whole thing. Yeah. I mean, yes, somebody like me and Travis could build these things, for way less money technically, and then spend all of our time tuning them and whatever. But and there's plenty of qualified builders out there. But it's a time thing. How much time? Time is money, And for somebody who's about to go out and shoot a film real quick, like if you get a last minute call for a gig and you need a couple rigs, call up Troy, get it sorted, like bang, because you're getting them delivered, ready to go. And that's what you need in that kind of an industry.
That was actually one of the things when I started with the macro group and I started with the Source One, the Source One 9-inch. I was giving everybody my tune. Like I built the thing, recommended what motors you get and everything, and I was giving away the filter settings and the tune, so people could buy this frame as cheap as possible, get it going. I was saying they could use 2 of their 6-inch batteries in parallel, and then I give them the tune because it was like that was something scary to have to worry about. Like I didn't even get into FPV until the TBS Vendetta because I didn't know how to tune at the time, and I'm like, I don't want to buy this thing and invest and then it flies like shit. So if I could get something that's perfectly tuned, that's a big deal. It takes a lot of worry out of things.
Yeah, I mean, I don't foresee myself buying a lot of things pre-made, but like, if somebody called me tomorrow and I needed a couple of fucking Sicarios right quick, I would call up Troy and be like, oh, can I get a couple of Sicarios right quick? Because like, got this gig, and I could rest assured they're coming in a state I would be happy with, It's good to have those options in there. And for the filming industry and for those people in that industry, it's constantly changing, lots of variables, and people need things quickly. So it's good that we have some solutions out there.
I like it a lot. I think like a lot of people are going to see that stuff. Like you saw that movie Red Notice. Netflix, it's like The Rock and Gal Gadot and Ryan Reynolds. They did like a lot of FPV stuff in that movie, and like we see it and we recognize it right away. But other people are going to wonder, like, how'd you get that shot?
Some people think it's CG. It's fucking hilarious.
When they start to realize, like, that's something you can do. Like, you could fly like that. You could do that. I think that's going to bring something to it,
Well, it's changing the game in terms of shot composition. You can now pull off shots that were unthinkable in certain regards, Like, the ambulance was another one that had a lot of FPV shots in it. And it's just, I'm so grateful to see it. And it's interesting. What I love seeing right now is in some of my high-end camera groups, I see some drone guy drop a picture of his Sicario or something in there. And the fucking film guys are like, I would never put my camera on that. You're crazy. And I'm just sitting back and I'm like, guys, you have no fucking idea what you're talking about. Have you seen this?
These guys are still those guys are still in the world of auto leveling, auto GPS control.
I'm just talking about filmmakers in general. I'm talking about guys
two-man operation. One guy operates the camera, one guy operates the drone. You know what I mean? They don't get how hard it is to actually do this. They think that, and I think that's where Troy's making money is because he's got people buying these that don't expect them to be so hard to freaking fly, and they're crashing them, and he makes money repairing them too. So, it's and that's why FPV pilots, a lot of big name FPV pilots like Nurk and Skinner, Justin Skinner, and all these guys are getting into that chase FPV because these other pilots can't freaking handle it. They can't fly enough to keep up with drift cars and their finite movements. They can't fly good enough to keep up with snowmobile chases.
It's
snowboarders.
Be like a really talented pilot to do these things.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Well, to be able to reproduce a shot is probably the most critical skill because you need to be able to do the same shot, and ideally to get a couple takes. But each take you do has to be as close to the first take as possible. You know what I mean? And that's another thing.
As far as motion picture filming, 100%. But I'm talking about like sports action filming, right?
Oh,
so So sports action filming, you got to be able to think on your feet and be able to, try to. Like you really have to be able to learn the drift track like a racetrack because you're going to need to know where you're going to be in relation to that track to catch
And
the
where
shot.
you going? Yeah, and where you
Right.
going with
So in snowboarding, like down the hill snowboarding, snowboarding, they do a lot of what do they call that? Open snowboarding, where they drop you off on untouched powder, right? So you're going down, and basically you've got a big quad that needs to be able to chase all the way down the hill. That's why I was kind of with the Necromancer, I was making sure it would fit the big 3,300 milliamp hour batteries, right? So because you want to be able to make it a couple times around the track, chasing motorcycles, snowmobiles, rally cars, whatever it may be, right? So yeah, dirt bikes are fun. I see a lot of people chasing trick bikes. People doing trick bikes.
Oh.
We had who do we have on with trick bikes?
Loreno 787.
Loreno, that's right. Loreno
The cat's
787.
Angel. Yeah.
the cat's
and
over.
guess what?
Oh,
I'm sending Angel a Shendron's big baby frame. So he'll have a little X8 chaser.
so speaking of the action stuff, I was just going to say the cats over at Drone Co., you know, especially John and Spencer right now have been killing it, going out doing slackline, fucking wingsuiters. They just did the Mint 400 or whatever out in Vegas, chasing fucking what are they, like fucking dirt trucks or some shit, like kind of like almost SCTs. But but dude, I mean, have you seen John's fucking wingsuit shit? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It's chasing wingsuit guys with a drone.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to go over 100 mile an hour with that shit, man. Those guys scream.
Right?
And you got to be obviously be cognizant about when they're about to pop their chute, because if you get caught up in their chute, you're gonna hurt somebody. So it's a fucking ball clencher, man. I mean, and so if you guys haven't seen him, I highly recommend you check out Virgin FPV. He's part of Drone Co. and fucking they're killing it with some of the action stuff out west. They're just outside of fucking Colorado out there. They're going out. The hell's it called? Moab. They're out going out to Moab and just getting ridiculous fucking high speed footage. And I love shouting those guys out because they're not the big name guys and they're doing amazing shit. Necromancer.
Yeah, sorry. We're typing a bunch of stuff.
I see. I'm trying to pay attention to the chat too. And you know who else was killing? You were talking about snowboarding when they took those 6 and they put the gimbals on them for the fucking broadcast. Dude, Gavin, those guys, that shit was dope. Shit was dope as fuck.
So you guys saw the episode that Nurk did with the 1-axis gimbal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I was going to put one of those on the front of the Necromancer, so when you're chasing, at least your horizontal is kept pretty. My buddy Artie's
doing that right now on his 7-inch rig for drift and chase stuff, and it's working out pretty good. It's pretty sick to kind of get that horizon lock, and still, and if your quad's tuned well, you don't even need you don't need to run hyper smooth, so you can run real steady or gyro flow and post,
right? Well,
which is important to me personally, but.
Yeah, that was kind of the thought with the fitment of the frame and trying to keep everything.
Mm-hmm. You should. I highly try it, man. If you haven't done it, try it. They're cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna get one. They're like freaking $300. I think it was, or $200.
I'll ask Artie what he paid for his. I don't think it was that much. It was pricey, but it wasn't. I don't think it was that much. It was a pretty good one.
You've got one there, Travis.
The other day,
I got a couple.
No,
that's a 3.
That's a 3-axis. Yeah.
Yeah, I started messing around with it. I don't know. I have this thing, and like I never get to use it, and I don't know. I want to do something with it, but I don't know. I have it sitting around like back from when I used to film things, and it's like it's cool, you mess around with it. But
you see where I had my Wii controller running the fucking my Ronin.
Yeah, what was the deal? What
I've been writing code to run to use the Wii controller to control the gimbal, and I'm trying. So my next step is to ultimately, I want to interface it basically with the transmitter, so I can have the gimbal remote. But then I was also thinking the same code could be used to like fly a tiny whoop with a Wii controller. You would just plug it into like your PC. And then, or actually, I'm using Arduinos. You plug it into an Arduino, and the Arduino would plug into a fucking transmitter or a fucking just basically a module. I just wanted to be able to plug it into a Crossfire module and have enough code to fly the quad on the fucking Wii.
Mm.
But
Dude,
I've been
they're
using
out.
it for gimbals.
So they're out of stock of the one that Nurk reviewed.
Artie was out flying with Bot and those guys
it's
today.
not that hard to make a gimbal.
Nah.
Like I have one.
Yeah, but this one has got stabilization software built in, and
well, okay, you can.
This is the one that
the gimbal controller boards. There's a company called
Stabilizer.
that makes a gimbal.
That might be what Artie has actually.
It's crazy. It's real. I wish I could show you the stuff. You look at the companies Alexmos. They make gimbal controller boards.
Mm-hmm. I have an Alexmos.
It's kind of the board is just like it's just like an all-in-one flight controller.
Mm-hmm.
It has the motor outputs on and everything, and you just plug in the motor, and you set up the gyro,
and you program it and shit. Yeah, it's wild.
PIDs. It's PIDs like you tune each axis with PIDs.
You can put gyros around different places. Yeah, they're cool. I have one of those actually.
Like the legit ones are a little expensive, but you can buy like bootleg ones and stuff.
So but that one, like I said, it's been reviewed by quite a few people in the FPV industry, and it's been fairly durable for as far as being able to take the vibrations from when you hit.
I mean, I think that's the thing.
The stabilization software is pretty good as well. So
being able to dial in because that's basically what you're doing in their stabilization software. You're able to just kind of adjust the PID controller, for lack of a better term, to get it how you need it in terms of its action.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Depending on what you need, you can stiffen it up, make it like if you raise up the P, you can make it a really stiff, where it's going to resist any kind of shakes or shocks. That's actually
They still can get a little funky though when you start getting inverted and doing rolls and shit.
When you change at certain angles,
mm-hmm.
the thing will act up. That's actually one of the problems I'm having tuning of this other gimbal right now. But that's where I learned to tune PIDs. I built my own 3-axis gimbal, and that's where I first understood what PIDs were. So it gave me like a little bit of insight to when I started messing around with freestyle drones. Because it's like exactly the same thing, basically. I like to build weird shit. I'm going to build a new cable cam. I'm making a new.
I saw you were working on the cable cam. That's cool. I
got a cool idea for another cable cam rig where I'm going to have it universal, so you could just mount whatever camera you want.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you want to have like a DJI gimbal, you could just clip onto it and
well, that's what I was
like an S-bus output that you can just plug into. A lot of I don't know if DJI still does, but the gimbal used to be able to be controlled by S-bus.
Yeah, they can. That's like how I'm doing it with the Wii controller. My Wii controller,
these little gimbals control the same thing. The newer ones you can control with S-bus. So whether you're using like a GoPro or a 360 camera or a bigger gimbal, I want to be able to make it mount universal onto my cable cam rig, and just let you be able to cruise over a line.
When I saw you were working on that, I was like, damn, I wish I was there, because I have the universal plate mount for my Ronin. I was like, dude, we could totally. And then I was fucking with like I said, I was running with the S-bus on the Wii controller, which is working great. So we could totally run the fucking gimbal controller off the Wii.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Oh yeah. That would work.
You could, because so that was the thing. Because you remember the Wii controller has it has a gyro in it. So not only do you have the stick, you have the gyro and some buttons. So you can program it so that when you hold the button, it does different functions. So it's pretty sick. And then you could literally use an Arduino to do the translation S-bus.
Well, isn't that what they did at first with multi-Wii? With their
yes, that's where drones come from.
Right? Yeah,
that's where our current technology comes from, is Wii. And so that's what made me think about it. I was like, dude, why aren't we using this for shit? And it was like a little part of nostalgia for me. It's like, dude, I'm gonna get a Wii controller and I'm gonna see if I can write code to fly a tiny whoop. That's my goal. I haven't quite gotten it there, but I've got most of it done. Like I've been working on it on and off. It's like a passion project. But so I was like in the process, I'm like, I can use the Wii controller to run my gimbal. So I plugged it in and fucking S-bus into the fucking Ronin and boom. And then I saw Travis working on his cable cam, because he used to do those back in the day, and it was sick. like, dude, we could strap my Ronin onto that fucking thing.
That's what I want to do.
And
Because they have like these cable cam rigs now, but they're like super simple. They don't have any cool features. Nothing. I want to make like something cheap that every small photographers could use. People that are shooting weddings and things like that, like a cheap option. And now you can get the live feed from the GoPro over Wi-Fi, so I don't need the transmitter like I used to have on mine. And I don't know. It's gonna be something I'll work on. So.
Unless you're using something like heavy, like if you're throwing a Red on there or fucking Blackmagic or a Zcam or something, you're gonna need some wireless video link. But with GoPros, it's fucking easy peasy.
Don't the new Canons have Wi-Fi output?
Some, I think, do. I think the Zcam can do some things over Wi-Fi as well. And you can get some basic previews, but I wouldn't rely on those for a low latency type scenario because those things don't
like
tend
a
to
Red
be
or something like that.
Well, you could use any camera. You just need to get it into a SWIT or a Teradek or some sort of wireless link, HD link.
You're talking about like high end shit. I'm talking
It's
about
not
like
terribly. You can get a Hollyland for $300.
I'm talking about like a photographer that works on the weekend and shoots weddings.
Dude, you know how easy that would be to hook a GoPro to a zipline cam.
That's if you look at my Facebook, I have.
That's basically what he's doing.
When I used to shoot weddings with drones, they always used to want me to fly indoors, like over the dance floor.
Yeah, that gets catchy a little bit.
And I did, and it was like incredibly dangerous, the stupidest thing I've ever done. It's also a reason I quit filming weddings because it was just like, I know it's only a matter of time before this thing closes a lawsuit. But the reason I made these web cable cameras, that gimbal I just showed you was up on a cable camera on a rig I made that you could put the rope across across the dance floor, tie it off onto things, and
well, now Travis. The next move is you just need to build a spider, and fucking do fucking 4 or 8 fucking cables where it can go track. You've seen the spider. Do we use spider cams on gigs before, and they're fucking ridiculous.
I tried to come up with ideas to do it, and it was just too nuts. The whole problem is tensioning the cable. Like when you try to hang 5 pounds on a 100-foot cable, you need to pull it. You need to tension the cable to like 125 pounds. Otherwise, the camera sags like crazy in the middle. And that was the main problem. Where are you going to tie it off to? But whatever. Anyway,
I see. I don't see video, but we have a Colby
working on video.
Oh,
working on the video.
Awesome. What's up, Colby?
What's up, guys?
He told me it was going to pop in towards the end. So, guys, for those who don't know, Colby, I believe you are the X-Class builder for DRL, correct?
So that was for DR1.
DR1, yes. Yeah. Sorry, Matt. Yeah, sorry. My bad.
That was a couple years ago now.
Yeah, Matt Nowakowski gave me your name, as I mentioned yesterday, and he was like, you guys should bring him on and chat bigger macros and X-Class.
Yeah.
I never actually talked to Colby, but like from the start when I started getting into big things, that was like the guy. I was like, from the start, this guy's been in like the big drone game forever.
Yeah. I mean,
well, there's Colby. Who used to design for you?
That was Sharif. Well, so I worked with
Sharif
with Horace Drones.
Sharif also designed the TBS Source X. If y'all didn't know that.
Yes, there we go. Camera's on.
Hey, there he is.
Oh, you guys got the cool backgrounds. Dang.
Mine's just a garage. So, wait.
Mine's a workbench. It's not that cool.
Oh, the little brick background here on the stream. Robert Vitrafly Ramiro did that for us.
Yes, and he's been fucking epic part of our team, man.
So it was kind of got into X-Class with Sharif actually. X-Class kind of got started in the Bay Area here, and people were flying like wooden frames and all this stuff, and he was the first one to take carbon fiber tubing. We use this like really nice like hex tubes to basically make the quads easier to like take apart for travel for races and make them stronger, more aerodynamic. So that's what that was when I got into it, was with him. We built the Horus drone. I think we were running 13-inch at that time. On some like motors that are probably way too small for it.
The thing I love X Class, like that got me into big stuff because I like to make things. Like, I like to build my own little anything if I could do it. And
Yeah.
X Class was big enough to do that. You can go to Home Depot and walk around Home Depot and pick up parts to build a frame.
Yeah.
It was
Reiner
like-
does that.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you just pick up like any random shit and like,
Oh,
I could use
keep
this.
talking. I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab something for the stream. I haven't shown anyone this yet.
Uh-oh. I love when people break. Show
I
us
remember
mistake.
like walking through Home Depot.
I don't know if I'm allowed to show this yet, but
So, in case you guys don't know,
Yeah.
Yeah, oh man, I love that thing. That is the
Yeah.
coolest fucking thing.
that's molded carbon fiber pod there.
Yeah,
Oh, the
yeah,
arms are
the
molded
the whole
too.
thing's the
Oh,
whole thing's one
shit.
piece.
It's amazing.
Dude.
Yeah.
Is that another?
That's
is that a Sharif?
isn't that Tommy?
No.
Whose design is that? Whose is that?
This is out of a guy out of Hawaii. He makes
Tommy Shinkin or no?
no
Hold on. Let me put you on the big screen there, Kobe. Hold on.
okay.
Yeah, dude, that
There we
thing's
go.
amazing.
So I haven't built it yet because I'm kind of broke and need parts. But if anyone wants to send me parts,
It looks
That
like
thing is that
it
thing
looks
is
like a
freaking
giant
schmeckle, man.
core.
yeah, but it's freaking beautiful, dude. I need to build this
Yeah,
thing
it is.
ASAP.
How's the durability on something like that?
Dude, from the backside, it looks like a freaking Thanksgiving turkey.
yeah. Little stuff in there.
Stuff
So I'm gonna put Demon Power Systems motors on it. Demon makes like really high quality. Jesus, it's got dust on it. That's how long I've had it. For. But yeah, Demon systems on it, APD, and then probably put like air unit in there.
Nice.
Nice.
What angle is that camera running?
That's probably at about 50, maybe 45.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can adjust it. It's a big hole, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if I would race this. It'd probably be more like bring it to IO and like show it off.
Showpiece.
Vitrify
Right.
says, "Can I S-bang it?"
Sure. Not mine, but you can
you
figure
can
out how to
buy
get
one
one of
and
these
S-bang it
things.
all you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll
this
fucking
thing,
do it.
I don't even know how much this thing costs. Honestly, it's like priceless. Like the guy took a.
Yeah,
I would imagine it's upward of
Yeah.
$700-800
Reckon
bucks,
that
probably
fucker,
closer to
I
$1,000.
don't know.
Oh,
I reckon
yeah.
that fucker would not be.
What was it?
So it's
Remember-
like it's it's all 3D printed body in here has carbon fiber molded
Carbon.
on it. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's freaking insane.
That's my next project.
So Matt, do you remember the that raffle app that or raffle thing that somebody made for us? I don't remember who made it, so I can't find that message.
Don't mind me, Trevor.
Trying to bring it up. It's like a FPV raffle thing. Was it fucking?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Was it? It was one of the Aarons. Maybe Aaron Rana?
Was it Cisco?
No, it wasn't Aaron Cisco. It was one of the stream guys, I think. I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know where it went. We had this. Somebody made this really cool. Like it was better than doing a wheel. It was like it was just a computer random generator sort of thing that he designed for FPV, and the props on the quad spin while and blow the tickets away.
Oh, that's a
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I just forget who fucking sent me that link, and I was trying to find it, and I can't fucking find it. It's pissing me off. I've been trying to find it for like 10 minutes.
I have not run any GQs yet, but I'll definitely run an X class through the GQ. I do that every year, so I'll see what kind of damage we can do with that.
I wish multi-GP would do a proper macro class. That's something that I want to see really badly.
Yeah.
I want to see a 9-10 or both class of macro. Yeah. It's missing. It's a hole.
I've been I've been racing 7-inch like Street League. Have you guys heard of Street League?
I think I've heard
it's
of
like
it.
DRL kind of spec.
Yeah, Ricky Peacock was saying he wanted to check out Street League or whatever.
Yeah, so that's been for me way more fun than 5-inch because you can actually see the competition on the track and you have more intense racing and it's cheaper. And
what was that? What were they calling it? I thought, and I'm scrolling back.
It's called Street League.
I think
he'd say he had a specific name for the quad. He was asking me.
Oh, Prig. Oh, is someone talking about it?
Yeah, back in the street before you showed up.
Oh
Ricky,
yeah, Mr. Rick James.
Mr. Rick James.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Prig.
Yeah.
Hey guys, let's hashtag.
Yeah, he was
macro.
calling it practice rigs or prigs.
Oh, talk about Prig racing. Yeah.
I mean, it's good to see 7-inch, but I want to see some 10-inch racing. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, I think X class is cool, but and I mean, and DRL's been doing 7-inch for ages. I want to see some 10-inch, and because macro is such a niche thing, but some of us have some really great builds for racing. I have a really great racing macro build I would love to try out on actually on a track like made
Somebody
for.
has mentioned the sound.
I think the part of the
like the sound when you're ripping a macro, the sound of it, like how it's get that violent grunt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like,
I was looking for some of my footage from West Coast Throwdown when they were doing the macro class racing. That shit was
Let's
nuts.
see what else I got in the
they sound
pull
so
out for you
vicious.
guys.
West Coast did some macro. I didn't see any macro out there.
This is
Oh,
my
dude,
next-
yeah, I was out at West Coast
Nice.
Throwdown last year. They did macro drone racing. Vanover was flying a rig from Ostrich FPV.
What size?
I think 13s. They were X class. It was.
Oh, it was X class. That's what I'm saying. There's
Well,
there's X class racing, but
you have
no
to be careful. You have to be
macro.
careful because X class
Let me see those arms.
multi GP macro, it's different.
X class
It's-
at multi GP
really-
is 600 millimeter wheelbase or above, right? That's the spec.
I like the pattern on that carbon.
Yeah,
it
it's,
looks like checkered.
This is like handmade in Sweden by this guy Oscar Nielsen.
so that's like 12K carbon, right?
That's like space grade. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, I think it looks like so.
Literally
It looks
space
similar
gray.
to it
when
looks
they-
kind of
when they
similar
rate
to
the
my
carbon,
box, doesn't
it's
it?
the number of fibers in a weave, right?
That's a dope
That's
frame,
like-
Colby. I have
Yeah.
a box frame that do you know Speed Belmont's 5-inch racer? That little
Yes.
box frame. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Speed it actually didn't make it for me, but I ended up with it. It's a 10-inch version of that 5-inch frame, and it's fucking amazing. It weighs it's a 10-inch. It weighs 750 before packs, 750 grams with a
Nice.
GoPro before packs, and I run it on 8S
Super light.
right now, and it ate all up is like 1350, 1400 or something like that. It's insane. It's
yeah.
and then we have Brother Hobby. I don't have it handy, otherwise I'd show it to you guys. Fucking is Brother Hobby custom won 740s on it, so it's a little bit. It's higher than the 640s, and it's way more aggressive. It's fucking dope. Yeah, on 8S. Yeah,
That was Chad's 8S macro. It was like
it's
insane.
it is insane because it weighs nothing, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I want to see a fucking racing class in a that's smaller than 600 millimeters, but that we can run because like, dude, my nasty's ready to go. Like, are you going to IO, Colby? I'll see you out there.
Yeah.
I'm bringing this thing.
Yeah, let me fly that girl.
Yeah, I'll be
yeah.
out there again this year.
Fuck, I'll let
Yeah,
you
X class is it's just too expensive, man.
Well, and it's just,
It
it's
kinda
dude. I
is.
mean, going to the park.
They
So
just go in a million pieces when you crash. And it's just
Travis and
like-
I lived in New York, right? And so we'd be going to, like, I would meet him on the park. I would be riding my boosted board across New York City with fucking macro quads strapped all over my back. And then, Travis would show up in his car. We'd go rip the park. Like, I couldn't imagine trying to fucking travel through New York City with a fucking X-Class on my backpack, dude. It's just ridiculous, It's fucking so unwieldy.
Hey guys, so we got to give away this 5-inch soon.
Do it.
What?
Obsession. So in the chat, #macro, and I'll put you guys in the raffle. I found it, Matt. It was Pokey FPV. It was Chris Nay.
Nice.
I was like, I knew it was that I found it, and I was like, there it is. All right, that's who did it. But yeah, I gotta I think we got maybe, I'd say about another 10 minutes, 20 maybe if we push it longer. But
It's cool.
I got kids going to school tomorrow.
Hey, family first, dude.
Right?
Yeah, the prigs are tough. That's the only thing you break on the prigs are the motors, but they're changing the motor specs to fix that. So it'll be
So the thing
indestructible.
was cool about the macro was that you could basically use 5-inch parts. Like one of the things I wanted to do was really push like 4-in-1 ESCs to the limits.
Yeah.
Like, they're rated 55, 60 amps, but like most people use them never pull that much. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to try to set one on fire. It turns out they actually can distribute that much power, so it like doesn't happen so often. But
it's pretty amazing what we do on macro.
Well, I think the bigger problem with macro quads on 4-in-1 ESCs is being able to handle the back EMF when you're freaking spinning them down. You got those the heavy props around there keeping spinning those freaking motors. It's putting back EMF through the ESC.
Yeah, you gotta build. Your power topology's got to be right when you get into 10 inch and up, because back at EMF, if you're not running the right caps, just thinking about your whole like video for me on a big system is a huge consideration. Because if you don't wire it right, you're gonna have mad fucking problems.
Oh, the first X-Class I built, I had a separate freaking 3S 650 milliamp hour battery for the video system.
The challenge,
the video system did not run off the flight controller or the main battery at all.
Mine goes through the flight controller. So my train of thought when I build, when I'm in analog video, like I have my camera gets power off the VTX. I make sure that my flight controller has a VBAT pad and ground, and I fucking tag onto that, and then my flight controller gets VBAT from either the PDB or the 4-in-1. And then my 4-in-1 or PDB gets power from the battery. It's a straight fucking line. There's zero chance for a ground loop. Camera, VTX, FC, ESC, or PDB to the battery. Straight line. You'll never have a black line in your video. If you wire your VTX back to the LiPo, you potentially, depending on how the rest of your system is wired up, if your camera isn't grounded to the and again, this is analog stuff, you can end up with loops. You can end up with flickering OSD. Anybody who's been doing it long enough has ran into all this shit. And I started wiring it was honestly Helio flight controllers that got me into doing it, because they had that fucking VBAT right there where you needed it. Well, and
the biggest problem I found when I was building was not enough 12-volt pads. 5 volts is not shit for a camera. 5 volt gives you issues on cameras all the flipping time. And the reason I did the 3S battery with the separate video systems, because I was worried about the noise and the back EMF, and I didn't want to lose video with a squad like that.
Well, with some of the 12S powertrains, you need to think differently sometimes regarding that as well. I mean,
right. But my typical, like my race rigs, I usually try to find a 12-volt or whatever for the camera, but then my VTX is always 5 volts.
I use TBS Pro 32s, and I take the 5 volt off those. They're fucking tanks as far as the regulator on a Pro 32. And so the camera always gets its power from my VTX.
Yeah, see, I don't use, if I'm running a 5 volt VTX, I do not do that.
I don't run 5 volt VTXs.
Well, for
as
racing,
a general rule,
for racing,
even for racing. Well, I mean, even for racing, I wouldn't. I would just turn it down to 25 milliwatt for racing and call it. Like
the Nano Pro 32s are 5 volt. You got to get the HVs to run anything but 5 volt.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to save weight there. I get that consideration. I do get that.
But like these little AKK ones that I've got here, like this is what I'm running on my race rig now. It's just a tiny little. I strap it to a 3D printed nylon spacer. I glue it down. But I like these ones because they've got the LCD to tell you what channel you're on, and a button that I can change it quickly if I can't get the.
I mean, I'm of the mindset though, just the gram that you're saving. In most cases, when I use the 5 volt Pro 32 nanos, I was always putting them in the little, 20 millimeter frame thing. What the hell do you call it? I was always putting them in them, and I'm soldering it to it. And then by the time I'm done with all that, I might as well just cram a fucking a Unify in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, this is the Unify Pro. I got a Pro 32 Nano on the Diamond stack. So TBS has got the Diamond holder that holds both the it'll hold both the receiver and the Nano Pro 32 VTX. But I mount the receiver separately because the board is really the arms that go out on the side are very flimsy, and I didn't want to put a lot of weight on it because I was afraid it was going to crack. Especially for as much as I like to crash
the
that tiny
32 Nano was like my go-to VTX. That and the 69 is actually pretty awesome too.
69.
Yeah, 69, dude. It's clear. Like it's really clear, and it does. You could use it the same way you use the big Pro 32.
So but, I've got a 69 unit here that I was gonna put in the Necromancer.
The only annoying thing about them is the way the antennas.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
What I did is I put like some.
What's the connector? What's the connector on it, Travis? Is it an SMA or is it an MMCX?
It's just UFLs.
UFL. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can get it to focus here.
Or I mean, yeah.
So basically, like what I do is I'll put a piece of heat shrink over the like the VTX pigtail, and I run it across the board, and I cut that little tin shield. Like I modded it up a little bit, so it runs across it, and then the cover's on it and holds them down. Like just sticking out the side, I don't know, man. It's so like I don't like it just sticking out the side. When you run it across the board, if you're careful, make sure the metal bits on the pigtails don't touch anything.
It comes with that little cover that'll help hold them on.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. There's the tin shield. If you use a tin shield, you have to cut up the tin shield a little bit, but if you run across it, it's much more solid. But you just have to make sure that the little pieces of metal on the pigtails have a little bit of heat shrink on them.
I mean, that's why I loved it when TBS started putting the screw down lock plates on their fucking Unify. It's like I used to fucking rip UFLs off all the time before that shit came. If I didn't, I was epoxy in them for a while. But see, with when you build macros and big quads, I mean, when you crash, the forces involved are so. Everything isn't fucking bolted down to like the walls, like if everything is in rock solid, it's coming apart. I mean, you really have to go through everything. I mean.
Double stick tape and zip ties.
Everything needs to be fucking secured because I mean, like when I crashed my Bandolero a couple of months ago in the field, I hit it hard. I mean, hard as fuck, and I literally I ripped the battery. Both battery straps ripped. It hit the back of my GoPro, and the GoPro ripped off the fucking frame and shot the GoPro 50 feet down the field. My battery went like 25 feet the other direction, and nothing fucking else broke. Nothing else broke. I destroyed the fucking lipo leads on the quad. I had to change those, but nothing broke on the fucking quad. Like the frame, motors. I broke 2 props. It was like, and I had to replace the fucking TPU bases for my fucking GoPro mount. You know what I mean? It was like minor shit.
I haven't really broken any frames yet.
I haven't broken any of them. No.
I bashed up some arms a lot, and the carbon got soft, and I replaced them. That was like 1 or 2 arms on the 9-inch Source 1. But, dude, as hard as I smash them into
motor bells.
Motor bells. I have ground down motor bells. And,
especially the fucking parking garage and shit, dude. It's like fucking, what the fuck?
Ding, when you hit the metal. Yeah. That happens. But the frames, I don't know. The frames for some reason hold up. I'm telling you, I think it's because
they should.
the arms are long enough and thick enough to allow a little bit of flexing in a hard crash. There's something going on. It's something with it. I don't know the science behind it, but I just know I haven't broken any of them, and I used to break frames like every 20 minutes.
Well, like I said, this whole lower is 18 millimeters of carbon total. It's 4 mil of bottom plate, 10 millimeter of solid arm, and then 4 mil of build deck. I mean, 18 millimeters of carbon is going to take a lot of fucking damage. And that's why we went with that one, you know, when we were trying to figure out how to make that thing work as a 10-inch. And it's fucking proven itself for me.
There's so many times in the beginning where I would get into these like insane crashes. The quad would go flipping across the grass, and like I would swear I'm walking over to pick up pieces.
Yeah,
and the thing is fun. I pick it up, I'm like, what the shit? You know, I change a couple of props and it's ready to go again.
I mean,
they're so much more durable than you would think.
End over end across the field, man. I fucking cracked a tree in Highland, and the quad fell out of the tree onto the concrete straight down. It was just, it sounded like Kaio was like, it sounded like somebody taking a big ass New York fucking phone book and just slamming it on the table as hard as you possibly could. It was just like, whoa, like thud, like it was just fucking crazy, dude. When I just crashed this one recently, it sounded like something broke. Like it sounded like somebody was breaking a leg. Like it was like the craziest snapping sound I've ever heard, and nothing broke. Like, yeah, they do. And then both these things have survived Pilgrim repeatedly. I mean, that place is a death trap for quads.
Yeah. Hey, Dan, how loud was that crack when the Nemesis hit the freaking pavilion?
How long was what?
How loud was the crack noise when the Nemesis hit the pavilion?
Oh, my Lord. Dude, I thought the entire thing was going to be in pieces. Like,
it's always good.
I power looped this pavilion, this like gazebo pavilion thing in the park. And I power loop up, and I come back through, and I just clip that top 4x4 of the pavilion on my way through it again. And I was just like, clip it right with the camera, hit so hard that both the FPV and the HD cam and mounts all got ejected. But somehow there wasn't a scratch on the fucking frame. I was like, what the fuck?
It's always good when you do a walk of shame expecting the worst and you come back with something that's still like mostly working or like it isn't bad at all. Like you're like, yeah.
Dude, the run cam was probably a good 55 feet away. Like,
which video was that, Dan?
And behind it. It wasn't even in front of it. It got ricocheted off of shit.
Remember, I lost it. I ejected a GoPro once in like it was open field.
I remember that. Remember that. Yeah,
it must have stole it. Like I hit the macro into the fence or something like really hard, and the GoPro went flying off. Like, yo, we searched for hours. We went back the next day and searched for hours. I'm like, the only thing I think is it flew off right near those kids and they stole it. I was so mad.
So Colby's got to take off. Colby, thanks for stopping by, bud.
We gotta
appreciate
it. We gotta do this giveaway too.
Yeah, I'll see you at IO.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll jump on again with you guys. I got caught up with work, so.
It's all good, man. Hold on. Hey, Matt, share my screen. I'm gonna share the screen first.
Look forward to seeing you at IO.
All right, yeah, I'll see you guys at IO, West Coast Throwdown, all the big events.
Yeah, man.
I'll be good.
Thank you very much for coming on, Colby.
Thanks for having me.
I'm sponsoring the meal the night of champs Saturday at IO.
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna do a brisket and some pork butts and.
Oh man, I've seen those posts. That shit made me hungry.
Yeah, I gotta step up my food game at IO.
I did them last year at IO and at West Coast Throwdown, so that was a freaking blast.
It looked so good.
Yeah, everybody loved it. So it's like, and you can feed with barbecue is one of the easiest ways to feed a bunch of people.
Yeah.
So I mean, other than like hot dogs and hamburgers, which is people will eat and tolerate, but I know deep down they're like, So
yeah.
All right. Well, see you guys.
Take it easy.
All right, man. Well,
later,
thank
Rick
you for coming on, and let's definitely do this again. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Much love.
All right. Peace.
All right.
All right, later, Colby.
Later, guys.
All All right, folks. So let's. We've got this new raffle from Pokey FPV. It's pretty cool. Chad, I think you're gonna really like this, and I'm not sure if Chris sent you the link as well, but I will if he didn't.
Right on.
But
No, I
here
was
we
looking
go.
at it. I really like it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think I got everybody on there. If I missed somebody, chime in. I think I got everybody, but I don't think I purposely missed anybody. Is it? How do I go? There we go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is blowing
So
away.
it blows away the tickets one by one.
That's pretty badass. I like that.
Shout out to Pokey.
So Pokey, well done.
Yeah.
D3 won a quad. Congrats.
D3 won the fucking obsession.
D3, woo!
D3 wins the D quad. There you go.
He's got a few D quads. Well, there's that. All right. Well, we've got the winner.
Nice.
You got yourself a D quad from Mr. Jeff Poole. So
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff, for supplying that for the stream.
Yeah.
Much appreciated, and congratulations to D3 for winning.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, hey Dan, I found a video.
You did? Which one?
The Nemesis meets Pavilion.
Oh, the vlog with Anthony.
Yeah, I was trying to remember which one it was, but yeah, with Twans.
Yeah, so I started the video with this crash just because I loved it so much.
There's a Nemesis there.
Yeah.
And I think it was right at the beginning you did that. So here's the power loop.
That looks like fun.
Bang!
Boom! You see that camera just go for a minute.
I hit one of the metal uprights on a fucking pavilion.
Oh,
I hit the we've got these bridges and they've got these arced I-beams to support them at one of the park, and man, I hit one of those on a power loop, and I was just it was above water, so I hit just a little bit too much throttle because I was nervous about going in the water, and right up into the freaking metal I-beam, shattered the damn my FPV lens, but my GoPro was okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Jeff, I will play that. I've got it pulled up here.
Fast forward, because it's my 10-inch flying for the rest of this. There we go. But yeah, so Jeff Poole, he sent a video which I forwarded to you, Matt. We'll play it for the macro guys after this.
I'm looking forward to this fucking summer. That's all I can say.
You're gonna stay out there, or you plan on coming back here anytime?
I'll be coming back for work, but I have a couple of things. I have a couple offers on the table, so I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to do. To be honest, I might end up in Colorado, actually.
Swift Duck, what's up?
Swift Duck,
what's going on, bud?
Oh, here.
Erie made it. He made it. He made it right before the giveaway, or right after the giveaway, too.
Fucking Swift Duck in his house.
We're about to shut down pretty soon. I gotta go to bed pretty soon.
It's all good. I got to pack up my shit.
I hear that, man.
I'm doing the mobile rig right now, so like I've.
Nice. I got a trailer that I usually rig up for events and shit whenever I go out.
Yeah, I need to buy one. The one it cost me, I think it was like 500 and some change or $600 to rent a U-Haul trailer for the for last year when I did the trip to IO and then all the way out to West Coast Throwdown. That's one of the things. Once I get a piece of property, I'll just buy a small box trailer because, like, if I rent one 3 times, I could have freaking bought a box trailer brand new. You know,
so it's funny. I'm looking at your motors and your props, and it's funny because Travis and I talk about this. So, like, am I nasty right now? Because that's part of the reason why I've got it set for such high up tilt. I can clear my prop line with the GoPro.
I'm not using a GoPro. I'm using.
Well, you've also that one quad you showed also raised that GoPro up a good 30 millimeters.
Yeah, I did. I made it really proud. I made it really proud, and I think the GoPro angle is like 50. And it's just to get it, scoop it up above the prop line. And that's what also I was touching on earlier about stabilization. I hate stabilization. If I can see the motors moving in and out, it drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. I know. So like
I had no option, mainly because I recently broke my Hero 7 and I'm using a Insta360 Go. But the mount that I have on it now is actually for a buddy of mine in the film industry sent me a 4K 30x8 VR 3D 360 cam, the stereo lithography.
360, yeah.
So it's the one with the eight 4K lenses all the way around it.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun as hell, man.
I've only been to paint a quad chroma green and then put one of those on there, so that way when it's in the shot, you could fucking key it out.
That's cool,
post, which would be insane.
I almost like seeing the props and the motors.
He likes it.
Once you're set up, it's just right down in the corners. You see the motor and a prop. And like, I don't know. I like it.
Well, that's why I generally will never ever run hypersmooth on my macro footage, so that way I don't have to watch the fucking motors move, and then or any kind of stabilization. I won't. If I do use it, I'll crop them out. Like if I'm going to use real steady or something in post, I'll crop them out. But I generally don't use any stabilization. Plus, you know how I'm a fucking tune junkie, so like I'm constantly looking at my footage, going, did it do something there? What do I need to change? So like so like fucking I don't know. It's just funny, but it's one of those things that I've noticed. It's hard on big quads to get the props out of view if you don't want them there.
Yeah, accurate.
And so for this rig, I built this rig specifically for chasing. We did some dragster chasing. So the Nasty has an air unit in it. I took wide FPV and plugged my DJI goggles into that, and then we ran a feed into a video wall truck. So while we were chasing the dragsters, we were piping my feed onto the video wall. So awesome. It was dope. Yeah, it was a dope thing. And we were also so I was able to take wide FPV and use I had an analog capture card, and then we set up a base station so we could capture the wire analog feeds, and then I also had the digital feed coming off my rig, and then the video wall truck could cut between the different drones, and you could get different views. You get a high def view, you get the analog like gritty look and shit. It looked dope. Nice. It was a really dope thing to do. It's one good thing about what Matt was talking about with HD0. It's so much easier to get HD0 receivers and just plug those into something for feeds versus being tethered with the DJI goggles. You have to be tethered to get a feed off of them. Yeah. There's no.
Yeah, and isn't how's the latency on that tether? Is it decent or?
Yeah, it's really pretty good actually.
Because the only ones I've seen it through is I've seen it come through on the DJI smart controller pad, right? Which I expect it to be seamless on that because it's native, right? But and then the T-Motor FPV View Pack or whatever the heck it is that they have.
I thought it was Axis Flying. Yeah,
or maybe they're
yeah, I know.
To me, it's like T-Motor said, "Hey, we could double our business if we split this company in half and both sold the same products." I don't know.
It's there's a lot of members from the T-Motor team in Axis Flying. Yeah,
yes, there is, and the motors. Looking at them themselves, it's almost like the same manufacturer makes the motors.
And then you had DigiView, which I believe is what the Axis Flying box is built off of, and it's cool because that's dedicated hardware. So I haven't used it personally. DigiView, is a very much a your mileage may vary situation because it depends on your phone hardware. If you're running an older Android or your Android isn't great or whatever, you can have more or less latency. The with wide FPV is pretty consistently solid for me.
Now the kits that they sell for those, they actually sell them with a tablet that's supposed to work great with it or whatever. I mean, if you get a decent tablet, you should be all right.
It's cool. I just use my laptop. I literally just use my laptop, and then I fucking gaff taped my cables down. I gaff taped the cable to my DJI goggles. Gaff taped the cable to the fucking table the cable to the table to make sure I didn't yank my fucking laptop off if I accidentally got up, and forgot. You know what I mean? Because it's just the stupid shit in the heat of the moment. So I just fucking secured the shit out of it, and then I was able to use my laptop and send the HDMI out of my laptop with the right scaling that the truck needed. And so it was super. So I used 2 fucking MacBooks with each one had a capture. One was for wide FPV, but both ran wide FPV as a front end. And then I output to the truck, and then they took it over with the switcher. It's wide FPV is a good app. And the guy that making it is awesome. And he actually, he built in there's a built-in stream application. So if you have your computer, you can plug your DJI into wide FPV and you can stream straight to YouTube or Facebook or whatever. So that's pretty sick. And it literally accepts anything attached to the fucking computer. Your webcam, your analog capture, your DJI, every input shows up to be captured in wide FPV. So it's kind of almost like OBS in that regard. It's kind of dope. And it's super simple to use.
Travis is he keeps wanting to pop up something in his view here. What do you got, Travis?
Remember we talking about, I fly weird?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, oh yeah. We didn't even touch on that.
Because I started out doing like aerial photography, weddings and stuff where you couldn't wear goggles. And I could never get used to goggles.
Travis never wore goggles.
Do you have glare blockers for those? Because in Texas, that would not work unless that contrast ratio is killer.
Yeah, I mean,
in Texas, it will not.
A hood cover thing, but most of the time, you find like a shady spot under a tree. That's good enough. But yeah, just another weird thing.
You just need a 2000 nit fucking monitor, like I have for my fucking camera rig. GG.
Yeah, we're gonna be done shortly.
Yeah, I wouldn't fly through any of those screens. Personally.
I love it.
So there was Dan's friend was doing a video shoot, and we were having issues with the same thing. The pilot, the guy that we were suggesting for the I don't know if you guys remember him or not. He used to be old. He was a DRL racer, one of the first seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a hexacopter, so I ended up putting prop guards on a hexacopter, and then he shot with this.
That's cool.
And it's a 3-inch hex, super light. It's got Axis Flying 1404 motors on it.
Yeah, I got one right up there too.
And it held the GoPro great. He made some suggestions as far as for balance and things, so I made some edits, and actually I have a Skya that's coming out specifically for Cinna. You can tell this one I made just for flying around, right? So the back motors are narrower than the front motors.
I like the position of motors on that.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of
right. And it flies around great, but if you want to carry something, it makes it a little wobbly for the balance having those motors near. So I moved these out so they'll be in line with the front motors.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know if you can tell or not, but I had to trim these hoops to fit the middle ones in, so I spaced it out so I wouldn't have to trim the hoops anymore. So
I got mine.
if you run it with the hoops, it'll be great. I extended the back this plate back another freaking 25 mil just to be able to move the battery back further.
What flight controller do you have in there?
This is I have the F722, I think it is. Flywoo Hexi stack. It's a 16x16 with a 6-in-1 ESC.
And I'm running
16
the
millimeter fucking wow.
Yeah,
What's
so they came out. So I had this like almost all the way done because I wanted to build a 3-inch hex, and no, the guards did not show up yet, Jeff. But I have a set in light blue. I don't have the black ones in yet.
Yeah.
What's that fucking? What is that 6-in-1 rated for?
16 amps max burst.
That's
And you're only running 1404 motors, you know?
Yeah,
Like
I'm running 1404 motors, 4600
you're not
kV.
going to tear up 20 amps per motor.
I'm running them on 3S and 4S. The whole rig weighs. Actually, let me pull my scale out because I forgot. But it's freaking pretty light, relatively. And
I'm
so the whole the rig is 262 grams, so it's not terribly heavy. It's small. It's compact enough to get into the tight spaces. So, but like I said, the new version that I've got is going to make it a little bit more balanced when it's carrying the GoPro.
That's another thing I want to see more of is multi-motor flight controllers and ESC setups. I mean, especially with the lifters coming in strong. I mean, I actually just got the new T-motor, the T-motor F7 8 motor.
Yeah, look at what Dan's got over there.
Yeah,
that's a little. So that's the 3-inch X8.
Yeah, like this thing's a monster. I love it. I also, by the way,
I'm gonna start selling that as a kit. By the way,
in my garage, I also have a 15-inch X8. By the way, so like I'm no stranger to the multi-rotor bullshit. Mm-hmm. But this one was super fun because I literally had to jumper 2 ESCs together, 2 4-in-1s together, and then find that one 20x20 flight controller that had 8 ports at the time. You know, like. And at that point, it was the Maytech F7. But now, like, the Brain Radix and the Lumineer and the T-Motor all have 8 ports.
Well, they're all 30. Yeah. Well, most of them are 30 mil patterns, though. So that's the challenge.
Finding the 20x20 that had that, and then the 16x16 that had the Hexa setup, that was a goal of mine. Mm-hmm. So...
Yeah, the new T-motor looks pretty interesting. I actually have one. It just came. I'm gonna do some testing on it actually here, fucking shortly. But it's a 30 mil.
That's something that if I had somebody's ear at T-motor or Axis Flying I would like to see a 6-in-1 30x30 ESC.
Yeah, it would be sick to have something that could handle some proper.
Even 20x20 would be okay, but I think for you really need a 30x30.
If somebody could give me a 65 amp fucking 6-in-1 and a 30x30, I'd take it all day. You know what I mean? Or like, that'd be amazing.
With Y6 becoming a little more popular.
Yeah.
Well, just for the Catalyst money shot, that's really that's kind of helped it along.
It is a challenge when dealing with when you start getting into multiple multiple 4-in-1s and stuff, getting the wiring right.
Well, because it's more for the company. I think it's more for about market value because how many people there's gonna be a few people like Nurk and like guys like us and shit that will end up using something like that. But how many people are going to buy that 6-in-1 fucking 70 or 80 amp heavy lift mode setup, you know?
It depends if Gank Multirotors makes a affordable hexacopter.
Accurate. But that's the thing. Like they have to realize our FPV community mainly does quad, so they're going to do 4-in-1.
Did I mention I've been into hexacopters for a while?
6-in-1 will be a rare commodity, but it
would be a rare commodity.
It's one of those.
So this one here, I commissioned Josh at Flyno to build for me.
Yeah,
it is a stretched X hexacopter.
I've seen that. I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen her. Yeah. That's
well, this is the only one. He didn't make any, but just this one for me.
I think I've seen yours. I think I've seen definitely seen it before.
It's got LEDs on the bottom. So this one's 5S 5-inch, and that it's a blast. That one's getting a I'm bringing it to IO this year. I just need to redo the GoPro mount.
I want to build out. I'm going to do an emu flight tune for the T motor, and I want to I'm working on some 10-inch X8 stuff, and I want to. So I'm starting with an X4 on the T motor, and I'm going to start tuning out one of my known macros with that, and just see how. Travis knows me well. Like pretty much my whole fleet runs Helio. For me to install a different flight controller in a quad is something like really.
I have a Mutiny that's got emu. It's got a I bought a bunch of the Helio control. So I've got two quads with the Helio AIOs.
I run the Helio in my Skull, and
I've got three other quads that have the Helio Mini, the 20x20. So I've got a Pyro Glide, and then my Cerberus V3 Racers all have the 20x20 Helio in them.
Two of my 10s have got Strix F10s in them. I think one of them has a standard V2 in it, and then pretty much every one of my 5, everything else has fucking Helios in them, either minis or fucking.
Yeah.
I like the Helio. I was sad to see him go away. The Strix F10, I never got a chance to get one of those.
Every once in a while they come in at ready-made. You just have to pay attention.
Yeah, and actually, Matt, we actually have an affiliate link with RMRC.
Yeah, I remember. I don't remember what the code is, but I do remember that.
Yeah, I'll get it for you. They sent me. They're like one of the few companies that you and I actually have an affiliate link with. So.
I mean, I was on Team Helio when all the shit went down, and it was a bit of a challenging time, to be quite honest. Like there were several of us on Team Helio. It was like Zoe, fucking Co-Nasty, my friend Willie Cashwell, Wild Type. There was a bunch of people that were like in the core Helio team, and when all that shit went down, and it's the irony is watching what was happening with Flight 1 right now, but I don't want to get into this too deeply. But all I can say is karma's a bitch. But fucking yeah, man, when Helio folded and Butterflight stopped, it was pretty depressing. But when Emu Flight picked up Helio support, I was like, I'm in, and that's why I help with Emu Flight now.
I'll be straight up. I have one one rig that flies my Helio, and it's my Lino Skull, and that's one of my daily bashers. I fly it all the time, but I very rarely record, and when I do, it's just DVR through my goggles, mainly because that's one that I don't put a GoPro on too often, so I just leave it. But I was flying my Skull and I was redoing it. It's all Helio, but I still have the original Butterfly fucking logo on startup every time, and I love it.
Yeah, you can. I still do as well in some of mine. Actually, I don't bother to update my OSD, but it was funny because actually my Nasty, when I first built my Nasty, I put a Radix in it. And I was like, developing for Emu Flight, but I'm like, I want to try Beta Flight and see where they're at right now. And Travis knows, he was with me a lot, man. I spent a month and a half trying to get this quad tune the way I wanted it, and pulling my hair out and cussing and fucking bitching to Travis. And he was just like, dude, just throw a Helio in it.
He wouldn't go fast. He wouldn't push it. I'm like, come on, man. I finally got somebody else with a big quad to like rip around with.
I know. And he's like, put a fucking Helio in it already. And I put a Helio in it. It was a wrap. Next, like it was like 2 days, dude. I spent a month and a half trying to tune Beta Flight, and I put a Helio in it, and we were fucking in business in 2 days. It was ridiculous how much of a difference it was. 4.3 is doing some really good stuff now, and I'm gonna try some Beta Flight on this flight controller as I compare, and because we're working on a bunch of new Emu Flight code. So like, this is kind of my test bed, but this is an 8 motor route. So if you're building, I figured I was going to build out a base tune on X4 10-inch. And then when I build the X8 10-inch, I could basically have a baseline to work from for filters and things of that nature. Yeah, man, get there.
Yeah, we will. And everybody, thank you guys so much for coming on. Chad, Travis.
Two things before we go. One, check out this wicked ass freaking hat that. So Andrew Vargas, he's a racer out of Dallas.
Yeah.
It just did a proof for a hat for me. So
Nice.
I think that looks pretty dope with the
That
black.
That's dope.
and gray.
Yeah, I love it.
That's a cool hat.
And then the other thing I wanted to do is I've had this queued up like since we started. Spooner's new freaking chase video.
Oh yeah, Spooner's. Yeah. Sorry, my bad, Spooner.
I've had it queued up. I didn't forget you, Jeff.
Dude, we were in chats. We were in all this whole time. Spooner's one of our team pilots.
I got you, buddy, man. Come on.
We got it. Look, he's got his big. What is that? The America?
I just save my hobby shirt. That's all I gotta say. That's
Yeah.
I got one.
Represent.
He sent me one, and
Represent.
me and my fiance have been wearing it in our live streams recently. Actually,
fucking
UFDA
crew.
bro, all the way.
Yeah, my volume's always a little bit wonky on for videos for some reason.
It's a pain in the ass to balance.
Yeah, especially with the OBS studios and shit.
Dude, that was one of my favorite weekends of all time. Was when the UFDA rented the house and we fucking did the protest all weekend. It was fucking amazing. We had such a good weekend and it was such a good cause.
I still can't believe that Terrence Howard and the linchpin came out of all that, too.
Dude, and
I was like, where the fuck did that come from?
Fucking quick flash from Emu Flight 1.
I know.
That's what's fucking crazy. It was like, what?
I knew it was gonna be one of the devs from either Emu or Betaflight, but Betaflight hasn't really.
It's cool. Have you seen it fly?
Yeah,
like, it's actually kind of cool. I was like, dude, imagine taking your 360 camera that has the lenses in every direction and like build them all in one. Like have a fucking linchpin that has a lens pointed on every point, and you could do 360 flying invisible drone. It'd be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Well, there was a couple. Now Josh actually hit me up. Yeah, Josh hit me up with that suggestion like a long time ago, and he was supposed to, like when the GoPro Hero Max came out.
With Rhino, yeah.
Yeah, and he just never sent me the camera. I kept asking him about it. He's like, yeah, I keep forgetting. Well, and then Stan FPV came out with one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those are all using those two. I'm talking. So back in the day, we used to take 6 GoPros and put them in a cage. And then there was some code you could write, and there was a piece of software that was supported via GoPro where you could stitch 6 GoPros together to make 360 footage.
Yeah.
It was actually came from, I think it was a company, it was called Polar. And that's actually where all of the fucking new GoPro fucking Max tech comes from, is what they learned back then. But it was literally taking 6 fucking GoPros on the outside of a frame. Yeah. And literally, like when I saw the linchpin, I'm like, dude, that's like the same shit, except there's motors and props inside of it. Like that's all you would need to effectively do is make something like that.
I 3D printed it out, and like right when I saw that, I fucking messaged Drew, and I was like, I need the plans for this. Do you want me to call Sean? Like, who do I have to call?
This is a 9-inch America. This looks good.
Yeah, it's the America, and so they sent me the link to the 3D print files and shit, and I was thinking about the linchpin. I was like, there's got to be a way to make this work, but I'm not good enough in terms of shit like coding or any of that shit to even come close to figure out how to do that, especially with something like Betaflight. You know?
I'm sorry, where's Jeff at? He's
in Ohio.
Oh shit, you're close to me, dude. Let's link up, dude.
No, he's not.
He's not in Ohio.
He's in Pittsburgh.
That's not that far. All right. Well, Matty Blunt's is 45 minutes outside of Pittsburgh.
But he does flying for flight test.
Yeah,
like record some of the chase footage and stuff. Footage you see for flight test with him.
For flight test, like TJ Williams.
We got to get together and rip macros, dude. You're close.
He will.
Yeah, Dan keeps saying Jeff's in Ohio. I think he wants him to be a Buckeye or something.
Well, he just keeps going to flight test, and that's why I think he's in Ohio. Every time he sends me a video, it's him at the HQ. I'm like,
well, Matty Blunt's has got a 10-inch Bandolero. He just built a 13-inch beast, and
he's got one of my Static X13s.
Yeah, and he's got the static. Yeah, I was gonna say, but yeah, that's the 13 that he built. Yeah.
He when he got sponsored by BQ, he used to have a bunch of Gank quads And when he got sponsored by BQE, he sold them all except the Skya.
Here's a little heads up, everybody. A good friend of our show and a good friend of Matt's and mine has almost, but it's not 100% official, but has acquired a big name drone company that we all know and love, Racer X. And so, in honor of that, in a couple of weeks, I will be giving away a 4-inch Racer X Mutant.
No, it's cool.
Given to me by Matty Blunts and painted by Matty Blunts himself. So
nice.
Matty Blunts.
Yeah, always. But yeah,
those dudes are in Atlanta today.
Yeah, I heard something about that too. I saw him climbing a wall with Bot Grinder and shit.
Yeah, I saw I saw it was with Bot Grinder, but I just assumed that they were up in Pennsylvania.
No, because my boy Artie sent me a picture today and he was like, "Look who's here!" And I was like, "Holy fuck!" It was Matty and Bot.
Yeah, Matty actually stopped by the stream a little bit earlier.
Yeah, and every time I used to live in Florida, down with like the Rowdy Quads guys and those crew, but Matty, whenever he'd come down to Florida, he'd always make sure to stop by and rip a few packs with me, you know?
Yeah, I did.
And I was like, dude, Matty, you're fucking awesome. And every time now I'm up in Virginia, so he's just one state away.
Matty travels for what he does for work, so he's all over the place, and it's awesome to link. I'm sure we'll see him at IO this year. But that's neat. So he built one of his first big quads. I was helping him actually last year. Then he took it to IO and blew it up. And then he ended up getting he ended up transplanting it over to Travis's frame, his 13-inch static. And then he's got the 10-inch Bando. I think there might be one other big quad that he's flying right now. But I've helped a lot of those cats fucking tune out their shit and get going with them. Matty is a dear friend of mine. But yeah, it's dope.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah. I'm gonna be Gank's gonna be sponsoring the freestyle 10 at IO this year.
Oh, sick.
As well as doing the barbecue.
Oh, I'm excited to see everybody out there because, like I said, it's 45 minutes from where I'm at right now, and it's super easy for me to get over there. And then there's tons of spots around we can rip outside.
Yeah, we're going up and we're renting a camper again. And that was one of the ideas I had for one of the contests. I'm gonna do a prize for one of the contests at IO, and then I'm gonna do a prize after IO for the best footage from Muncie. Whoever went out and found some decent flight footage from one of the parks or something around Muncie, and that'll be on our live stream. That giveaway will be on our live stream after IO.
Well, what we need to do is get enough macro cats to show up at IO so we can start leveraging multi-GP to give us a fucking category.
Well, they had an X-Class race last year.
You keep saying X-Class. I'm talking about macro quad. They are two different things.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. I can't say X-Class because X-Class was coined by X-Class and multi-GP coined macro racing. So last year
it's not macro because it's 600
I made up
Mega Class, they called it. Sorry, Mega Class. I apologize. Yes, it's Mega Class.
The word macro quad.
Travis coined the phrase macro quad.
It's true.
So, but yes, they had Mega Class racing last year,
which is 600 millimeter plus.
Did it first.
Like I said, there was no class. There was
nobody called it macro.
7, 8, 9, 10.
Well, they were beast. Everybody was trying to go beast class, is what they were trying to call it.
Well,
that was like that was Catalyst trying to push that. I think
Beast was like a small X class.
Yeah, Beast was cut down tube arms.
Well, Beast was 700 to 800, or 700 to 900, right? Or 600 to 900.
No, Beast was sub 600. Beast was everything that wasn't X class. It was sub 600.
It was X class, but with sub 700 arms.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, because you could use 13-inch props on a 500 millimeter frame, and it's going to be really durable. So,
the stand-in fat arm Morgana is a 560 13-inch beast that is one of the fucking most amazing frames I've ever seen in my life. It's not cheap. It's about $350 for the frame, but it's a fucking piece of work. It's a piece of art, and you can build out one of the most indestructible 13-inch quads you can imagine.
Yeah. So
right.
Jeff Poole says he's going to bed, but he says Chad send him a
Word. Will do, brother.
So,
Most
All right, I think we should probably end it too. I think
Yeah,
Travis
yeah,
thanks for
got
having
things
us.
and stuff to do. I'm sure we could talk for another hour at least.
Oh
but-
yeah, we'll do another episode of this, man, for sure.
But all right, guys, thanks for joining the stream. Congratulations to D3. Dan will get that out to you this week, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Probably next Saturday when I get paid.
I just
but-
love that Jeff was like HQ props suck.
Yeah, I do too.
Try
It makes
those
me
fucking
happy.
gem fans, bro. Those are pretty solid. Well, I mean, Master Escrew.
We've counted those gem fans a few times on this stream, I think.
I mean, well, the Master Escrew 9-inch, Travis has had good luck with. I don't run 9-inch
They're
9-inch props. Jeff.
I hate the HQs
MR
too. Like I every time I hit a leaf, they explode. Like
The 9-inch was better than the 10-inch. That's all I'm going to say. Much better.
All right,
The 10-inch
guys.
was bad.
Have a good night. Thank you too for joining us, and we'll definitely do this again.
He said I ordered them already.
And
All right,
guys,
later, guys.
be sure to check out B2P. What night is it on?
Wednesday night, 10 p.m. EST. We got Bot Grinder coming in hot this week. Come through and check
Sweet.
us out.
And
Nice.
definitely have them talk about Maddie. More,
And
more
we're gonna
shout
spend
out for
we're gonna spend
Maddie,
half the night talking about Maddie. I mean, that's all we
Right?
do.
right? All right, guys. Have a good night, everybody.
All right,
Peace
guys.
out, y'all.